Great. So it was sometime in early 1977. मी मरीन ड्राईव्हवर बसून एक असा फटका पेपर वाचत होतो आणि त्या पेपरमध्ये एक ऍड दिसली. ती ऍड होती की शॉर्टकट टू सक्सेस, जॉईन द इंडियन आर्मी, अपियर फॉर कंबाइंड डिफेन्स सर्व्हिसेस. So that was very interesting. But you must be wondering, what am I doing on Marine Drive with a Fatka paper? So I was sitting on the Marine Drive of hostel number 7 of IIT Powai. IIT Powai's hostel number 7, which is called Lady of the Lake. त्याचा एक मस्त कट्टा आहे असा आडवा, and that is called Marine Drive. आणि माझं सिलेक्शन होऊन मी तिथे ऍडमिशन घेतली होती फॉर पोस्ट ग्रॅज्युएशन इन अप्लाइड जिओलॉजी. So while I was doing that, I was sitting on Marine Drive and reading this paper. आणि पेपर फाटला याच्यासाठी होता की IITचे लोक वेडे असतात, ते सकाळी सकाळी जाऊन भांडाभांडी करतात पेपरसाठी, कारण की त्यांना ते कोपऱ्याचं क्रॉसवर्ड पाहिजे असतं आणि ते क्रॉसवर्ड घ्यायसाठी अख्खा पेपरची वाट लागते. But anyway, whatever was left of the paper, I was lucky to kind of look at it आणि तो ऍड मला तिथून दिसली. तर दोन गोष्टी माझ्या डोक्यात आल्या. एक गोष्ट म्हणजे मी जेव्हा पहिली दुसरीत होतो, 1962 ची जेव्हा लढाई झाली चायना बरोबर. सो ड्युरिंग दॅट टाइम वी वर इन यरोडा. त्यांना पुण्याची माहिती आहे, तर तिथे एक बॅरन्स कोर्ट नावाचा बंगला आहे. सो इफ यू गोइंग टू यरोडा ओल्ड एअरपोर्ट रोडवर, आणि एक पोलीस चौकी येते आणि पोलीस चौकीच्या अलीकडे एक रस्ता जातो उजवीकडे ईशान्य मॉलकडे. त्या टर्निंगला कोपऱ्यात एक बंगला आहे विच इज कॉल्ड बॅरन्स कोर्ट. सो दॅट होल बंगला वॉज आर्स. वी शू स्टे देअर बिकॉज माय डॅड वॉज द गव्हर्नमेंट सर्व्हिस. आता ती बिल्डिंग तशी अजून आहे, पण तिथे आता गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफिसेस उघडली, ते कोणी राहत नाही. तर आम्ही तिथे राहायचो 1962 मध्ये. आणि बिकॉज ऑफ द वॉर अँड द क्लोज प्रॉक्सिमिटी टू द एअरपोर्ट, तिथे आम्हाला वॉर्निंग यायचे की प्रदूषण म्हणजे बेसिकली 7 आफ्टर सनसेट सगळ्या खिडक्या काळ्या करायच्या, गाडीचे काचा अर्ध्या काळ्या करायच्या. त्याच्यानंतर रात्री सायरन वाजायचं एअर अटॅकचं, की सगळे आम्ही बाहेर पडायचो लाईट फिट बंद करून जिन्याच्या खाली किंवा ओपन एअरमध्ये. तर अशा सगळ्या भानगडी आम्ही तेव्हा बघितल्या. आणि त्याच वेळेस तिकडे एरोडा जेलचे जे वाईफ्स असोसिएशन होतं, तो माय मदर वॉज टेकिंग सम पार्ट इन दोज ऍक्टिव्हिटीज. तर तिथे आम्हाला रोज वॉर मूवी दाखवायचे. कुठली तरी वॉर मूवी बघितल्यामुळे ते सगळं डोक्यात बसलं. अँड देन आय सेड आय वॉन्ट जॉईन द आर्मी. पण मग कळलं की पहिली दुसरी तिसरी असून काही फायदा नाही. सो पीपल टोल्ड मी दॅट यू हॅव टू वेट ॲटलीस्ट टिल यू बिकम 13. मग त्याच्यानंतर तुम्हाला सैनिक स्कूल जॉईन करता येते, देन यू कॅन फाइंड युअर वे. So I said, great. Anyways, in the meantime, my dad got transferred to different places, different dreams emerged, and I forgot about it till I saw that paper. पेपर बघितल्यानंतर हा विचार माझ्या डोक्यात आला की अरे दिस इज समथिंग दॅट आय कॅन स्टील डू. दुसरा विचार हा आला की माय फादर वॉज लुकिंग आफ्टर 5 चिल्ड्रन आणि fees of 5 children who are studying in the college and higher education. So I said, if I can reduce that burden by 1, it will be a great thing. So तो एक विचार. सो आय वेंट अहेड आणि मी कंबाईंड डिफेन्स ची परीक्षा दिली. आणि दिल्यानंतर एक आठवड्यानंतर रिझल्ट आला की प्लीज रिपोर्ट टू अलाहाबाद सर्व्हिसेस सिलेक्शन बोर्ड, SSB, पॉप्युलर SSB. म्हटलं वा. आणि इट्स ऑल पेड फॉर. सो आय सेड लेट मी टेक दिस चान्स अँड गो टू अलाहाबाद. सो आय वेंट टू अलाहाबाद. आणि इट वॉज नोबडी. आमच्या फॅमिलीत कोणीच आर्मीमध्ये नाहीये, कुठे नेव्हीमध्ये एअरफोर्समध्ये कुठेच नाहीये. So I thought ki chalo it's a good experience and I have this dream from my childhood. So मी गेलो SSB ला. So Service Selection Board is an amazingly interesting process. You can imagine एक आठवड्याचा तो सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस असतो. म्हणजे इथे माहिती आहे मला गुगल, फेसबुक आणि ऍपल मध्ये बरेच स्ट्रिंजेंट सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस असतो. सो बट दॅट अगेन आय थिंक दिस इज इफ नॉट कम्पेरेबल ऑन अ डिफरंट प्लेन, इक्वली टफ. तो 5 दिवसाकरता इट्स फन अदरवाईज, बिकॉज ते असं नाही की तुम्ही आर्मी जॉईनच झालाय. सो सिलेक्शनसाठी पहिल्या दिवशी इज अ व्हेरी जनरल डे. सो दे टेक मेजरमेंट्स ऑफ ऑल युअर बॉडी पार्ट्स अँड मेक शुअर दॅट एव्हरीथिंग इन इट्स प्लेस. अँड दे चेक ऑल युअर डॉक्युमेंटेशन. ओके, दे चेक सम बॅकग्राउंड्स. दे डू अ प्रिलिमिनरी इंटरव्यू. They make you run for a few meters just to see that you're physically fit and you can manage to sustain the 5 days. पहिला जनरल दिवस. दुसऱ्या दिवशी इट इज सायकोलॉजी टेस्ट. आणि सायकोलॉजी टेस्ट मध्ये म्हणजे अख्खा दिवस युअर गिव्हिंग सम काइंड ऑफ टेस्ट और इंटरव्ह्यू और समथिंग लाईक दॅट. सो व्हॉट आय डिस्टिंक्टली रिमेंबर इज द पिक्चर बेस्ड टेस्ट असते. असे तुम्हाला 30-30 सेकंदासाठी पिक्चर्स दाखवतात आणि यू सी दॅट पिक्चर अँड आफ्टर 30 सेकंड इट गोज अवे अँड दे गिव्ह यू टाइम. त्याच्यात तुम्हाला स्टोरी लिहायची. You write a story, whatever comes to your mind. 2-3 मिनिटं मिळतात लिहायची, दुसरं पिक्चर, मग तिसरं पिक्चर, असे अनेक पिक्चर देतात आणि राईट स्टोरीज. बेसिकली युअर बिहेवियर पॅटर्न, युअर मेंटल मेकअप कम्स आउट ऑफ दॅट. तर तसे असतात. आणि त्याच्यानंतर देर इज अ व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट इंटरव्ह्यू टेकन बाय अ सायकॉलॉजिस्ट. आणि द वर्ड हॅड गॉट अराउंड दॅट द सायकॉलॉजिस्ट इज अ व्हेरी गुड लुकिंग गर्ल. सो फार एक्साइटमेंट होती सगळ्यांची की चला माझा सायकॉलॉजीचा इंटरव्ह्यू आहे. सो वी वेंट अहेड, डिड द इंटरव्ह्यू. सो सेकंड डे वॉज ऑल सायकॉलॉजी. तिसऱ्या आणि चौथ्या दिवशी दे डू व्हॉट इज कॉल्ड एज ग्राउंड टास्क. ग्राउंड टास्क मध्ये वन इज ऑफकोर्स दे वॉन्ट टू सी युअर करेज, दे वॉन्ट टू सी युअर कॉन्फिडन्स, they want to see your physical ability, they want to see how quickly you can think, they want to see whether you're a team player. तर ते काय करतात, वन एक्झाम्पल आय गिव्ह यू, की एक 10 लोकांची टीम केली त्यांनी, आणि 10 लोकांची टीम केल्यानंतर ते टेक यू टू द ग्राउंड, आणि एक अशी स्टार्टिंग पॉईंटची एक लाईन आखलेली असते. तिथे तुम्हाला उभं करतात, तुम्हाला एक पोल देतात, एक शिडी देतात, एक रोप देतात, आणि पुढचा जो आखलेला जे ग्राउंड असतं, लेट्स से 50 मीटर्स, त्याच्यात 1-2 झाडं आहेत, 1-2 असे बेंच वगैरे टाकलेले. सो नाउ व्हॉट यू हॅव टू डू, इथून चालू करायचं आणि पलीकडच्या लाईन पर्यंत पोहोचायचं, ऑल 10 ऑफ यू, विदाउट टचिंग द ग्राउंड. मग ते तुमचं डोकं तुम्ही कसे वापरता, मग ती शिडी लावता का, बांबू लावता का, दोरी टाकता. आणि द थिंग इज नॉट ओनली दॅट you have to go over and take the same equipment because you got to use it in the next step. हे असं मस्त एंटरटेनिंग आणि खूप मजा टाईपचे असे एक्सरसाइज असतात. सो 2 days ऑफ फन वी हॅव. देर इज स्नेक रेस, देर इज टग ऑफ वॉर, आणि बरंच काय काय करत. आणि स्पोर्ट्स अँड गेम्स. एव्हरी डे यू हॅव अ चॉईस, यू कॅन प्ले फुटबॉल, हॉकी, बास्केटबॉल, काय खेळायचं ते खेळा. आणि 5व्या दिवशी इज द फायनल डे. मग 5व्या दिवशी ते सगळं कंपाईल करतात, आणि त्यांना काही डाऊट्स असले की बाबा हे आपल्याला परत थोडंसं रिव्हॅलिडेट करायचंय, तर ते करतात. आणि मग एक फायनल इंटरव्ह्यू असतो. देर आर समथिंग लाईक 8 to 10 people sitting in a room, and you walk in and they actually harass you because people ask you questions from different sides, and they want to see then how you react and how you make everybody happy. So हे सगळं करतात. त्याच्यानंतर देर इज डिबेट, त्याच्यानंतर देर इज एक्सटेम्पोर. यू गेट 3 minutes टू लुक एट अ शीट, काहीतरी लिहिलं असतं, पटकन येऊन काहीतरी बोलायचं. तर फार म्हणजे इट्स अ व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग वे ऑफ काइंड ऑफ इव्हॅल्युएटिंग अ पर्सन्स पोटेन्शियल. आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर 5व्या दिवशी झाल्यानंतर देन दे पुट अप अ मेरिट लिस्ट. आणि टिपिकली 100 जर लोक असले तर द पर्सेंटेज ऑफ सिलेक्शन इज अबाउट 5 to 10%. 10 पेक्षा जास्त कधीच सिलेक्ट होत नाही. सो दे पुट अप अ लिस्ट ऑफ 8 people, अँड फॉर्च्युनेटली आय वॉज वन ऑफ देम. आणि सम ऑफ द पीपल विच वी थॉट की हे नक्कीच सिलेक्ट होतील, बिकॉज त्यांनी डिबेट छान केला होता, त्यांचं कम्युनिकेशन एकदम परफेक्ट होतं, बट दे डिड नॉट गेट सिलेक्टेड. Some people were physically very strong. They were always ahead of everybody. They did not get selected. So it was very strange. Later we realized, obviously, what the army is looking for is, these people may be good in some other careers. So what army is looking for is people who are team players. Okay, people who can adjust, people who can, do a certain level of physical exercise, and also have the capability of leadership. So potential वगैरे बघतात. तर anyway, 8 लोक सिलेक्ट झाले. म्हणजे 8 लोक जे सिलेक्ट होतात त्यांना मग अजून एक आठवडा थांबावं लागतं फॉर मेडिकल. So we wait for medical, and medical again head to toe, 1 week of medical exams you go through. आणि मग त्याच्यात 1-2 रिजेक्ट होतात. So, so आम्ही lucky if they get 5-6 people out of this batch. Okay. So luckily my medical also went through. At the end of it, they told me that you're shortlisted and you will get a confirmation. Or, if things go all right, we'll send you a letter. परत आलो मी. आणि परत आल्यानंतर मग त्यांनी 2-3 आठवड्यानंतर लेटर आलं की सिलेक्टेड अँड वी वॉन्ट यू टू रिपोर्ट टू ऑफिसर्स ट्रेनिंग अकॅडमी इन चेन्नई फॉर ट्रेनिंग. मला आता करायचं काय, मग मी मुंबईत होतो. सो आय वेंट टू पुणे. आणि मग आय टोल्ड माय डॅड, अरे बाबा हे असं आले तर काय करायचं. तर ते म्हणले, व्हॉट डज युअर हार्ट से. सो आय सेड माय हार्ट सेज आय शुड गो एन्जॉय. गो अहेड. So I must be a rare case of somebody who's leaving IIT and going and joining the army. So anyway, so that is how I actually got into it, and I thought I should share the whole history to you because आमच्या फॅमिलीत कोणीच नव्हतं, in the Indian Army. So I went and I joined. So let me just share, if you don't mind, because काय मोनोलॉग केलं की जरा बोरिंग होईल. I'll share some pictures if you don't mind. Yeah, काय पिक्चर्स दाखवतो तुम्हाला. Entire screen. Okay. So can you guys see anything? एक मिनिट. कॅन्सल. 1 second. I think I need some help from experts. हे एंटायर स्क्रीन करायचं का विंडो करायची स्क्रीन? विंडो करा. विंडो. ओके विंडो. राईट नो.
आणि नाही ते ऍप्लिकेशन दिसत नाही ते.
ऍप्लिकेशन दिसेल हे बघ.
हा हे ऍप्लिकेशन
हे आलं पण आता ते शेअर कसं करायचं? हे प्रेझेंट नाव मध्ये जायचं ना?
हे काय दिसत नाही.
हा दिसतंय. ओके. सो आय क्लिक दिस अँड आय से शेअर. ओके ग्रेट. थँक्स. आता मी ओके ग्रेट. ओके सो कॅन यू गाइस सी माय स्क्रीन?
येस. प्रेझेंटेशन मोड.
थांब ना ते इथे जरा जाऊ दे. टुक. This one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, IIT madhun, but I can't see the videos. Where are the videos? फक्त स्क्रीनच दिसते. I can't see the videos.
I think तो प्रॉब्लेम आहे.
प्रॉब्लेम आहे काका. हो
प्रॉब्लेम आहे.
नाहीतर मग असं करू शकता की ते फुल स्क्रीन नाही केलं तरी आम्हाला तुमच्या स्लाइड्स फक्त तो डेक साइडचा हाईड करा. If you don't want to give
नाही, it's okay. There are no secrets, so it's okay. So
पण बरंच चांगलं दिसत होतं तसं. Want to see our screens, yeah.
हा I think it's good if I see you guys. So थोडंसं एस्केप करतो पण आता तरी मला दिसत नाहीये. आता दिसतं. असं केल्यानंतर दिसतंय.
ठीक आहे. I think this is okay.
Okay, this is fine. Yeah. Okay, I am presenting and here it is. Okay, that's good. Okay, fine. So therefore I'm calling it the road less traveled because I don't think there are many people who left IIT and joined the army. So
सगळ्यांना स्क्रीन छोटा दिसतंय का बच्चा?
सगळ्यांना स्क्रीन छोटं दिसतंय का?
छोटं दिसतं पण इट इज गुड.
स्लाइड्स
इट इज गुड म्हणजे.
नाहीये चांगलं दिसतं.
When I think you need full visual, then I will blow it up. चालेल?
Okay.
Yeah. So road less traveled is what I called it because it's a very unusual thing. Yeah. So I'm very privileged because I'm getting an opportunity to share part of my story with you all. So मी बेसिकली काय करणार माझी 40 वर्षापूर्वी असा हँडसम होतो मी. आता काय करणार? टाइम कॅचेस अप विथ यू.
अजूनही खूप हँडसम दिसता पण तेव्हा विशेष लेवलचा
कॅचेस अप विथ यू. सो मी काय करणार आय विल शेअर माय स्टोरी म्हणजे कुठे कुठे माझी पोस्टिंग झाली आणि काय काय झालं आणि आय विल ट्राय अँड कव्हर ओनली दोज थिंग्स विच आय फील आर म्हणजे जनरली लोकांना माहिती नाहीत अशा गोष्टी मी तुम्हाला सांगायचा प्रयत्न करीन आणि यू कॅन स्टॉप मी एनी टाइम अँड आस्क मी व्हॉट एव्हर क्वेश्चन्स यू हॅव म्हणजे आपण इंटरॅक्टिव्ह करू. So thanks for appreciating my picture. That was the idea. So very good. Okay. So तुम्ही काय झालं तिकडे SSB मध्ये गेलो तिथून मग ट्रेनिंगला बोलवलं आणि मग ट्रेनिंग झाल्यानंतर आय गॉट कमिशन इन टू द आसाम रेजिमेंट. ओके. नाव ट्रेनिंग बद्दल मी थोड्या वेळानंतर तुम्हाला सांगतो. बट इफ यू सी दिस पिक्चर देर इज अ रायनो ऑन माय कॅप. ओके. आणि माझ्या शोल्डर टॅपच्या बाजूला तिकडे आसाम लिहिलेलं असेल ते आता दिसत नाहीये. बट दिस इज द युनिट दॅट आय जॉईन्ड. These are the troops that I commanded. हे कुठले आमचे आसाम रेजिमेंटमध्ये नागालँड, मिझोराम, मणिपूर, अरुणाचल हे सगळे इकडचे तिकडचे आमचे 7 सिस्टर्सचे सगळे ट्रूप्स आमच्याकडे. सो व्हेरी क्यूट गाईज अँड आय हॅड द ऑनर अँड द प्रिव्हिलेज ऑफ बिंग पार्ट ऑफ 5 आसाम रेजिमेंट. आता हे जसं आसाम रेजिमेंट आहे तसंच यू हॅव मद्रास रेजिमेंट, यू हॅव पंजाब रेजिमेंट, यू हॅव मराठा रेजिमेंट, यू हॅव गुरखा रेजिमेंट. तर रेजिमेंटेशन मध्ये काय होतं की आपल्या देशात एवढे प्रांत आहेत आणि प्रत्येक पिक्युलॅरिटीज ऑफ एव्हरी स्टेट इज देअर. सो आय डोंट नो ड्युरिंग ब्रिटिश टाइम दे डिसाइडेड दॅट फॉर होमोजेनिटी ऑफ कल्चर वगैरे वगैरे ते त्यांनी असे रेजिमेंट्स तयार केले. आणि सो युल फाइंड मद्रास रेजिमेंट, युल फाइंड ऑल मद्रासीज, पंजाब रेजिमेंट, सिख रेजिमेंट ऑल सरदार्स असे त्यांची रेजिमेंट्स तयार झालेले आहेत. आणि आसाम रेजिमेंट इज अ लिटल मोर मिक्सअप बिकॉज 7 वेगवेगळे तिथे स्टेट्स आहेत आणि त्यांचे लँग्वेजेस वेगळे आहेत. सो ऑल दीज गाईज कम इन टू द सेंटर. आ सेंटर इज इन शिलाँग आणि मग सगळे शिलाँगला येतात आणि तिथेच हिंदी शिकतात. सो एव्हरीबडी नोज हिंदी आणि वी यूज रोमन स्क्रिप्ट टू कम्युनिकेट. मैं जा रहा हूँ विल बी MEIN, मैं जा जे सो रोमन स्क्रिप्ट वापरून आम्ही हिंदी सगळे वापरतात. इंटरेस्टिंग. काय म्हणतात त्यांना ट्रायबल वे ऑफ स्पीकिंग That's another interesting thing. Okay, since I mentioned it, I might as well tell you an example. तर ते कोणाला ते विचारलं ते ओ कहाँ रहता है? ओ उधर रहता है. म्हणजे खूप लांब राहतो. किधर रहता है? ओ इधर रहता है. म्हणजे जवळ राहतो. So their phonetics that they use are very communicative. म्हणजे भाषा जास्त लागत नाही पण त्यांचे actions are really good. Anyway, so that is Assam regiment, and each of these regiments have a cry, war cry. Okay, तर आता आमची war cry होती rhino charge. So whenever we go on a charge in the battle, you say rhino charge. So तसंच Sikh regiment is बोले सो निहाल सत श्री अकाल. Gurkha regiment is Ayo Gurkhali. Maratha regiment is Har Har Mahadev. So they regimentation and culture हे बघून they have their own war cries and stuff like that. So I thought I'll just share that with you. Okay, so my first posting was in this beautiful place called Sikkim. आणि या सिक्कीमच्या डोंगरात माझी पहिली पोस्टिंग झाली. आणि जस्ट टू गिव्ह एन आयडिया ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल मॅप, सो दिस इज सिक्कीम विच इज बफर्ड बिटवीन नेपाळ, चायना, भूटान अँड इंडिया. ओके, सो हे वेस्ट बेंगॉल खाली येतं. सो आर बेस्ट लोकेशन वॉज अ प्लेस कॉल्ड सेवक रोड विच वॉज इन वेस्ट बेंगॉल. अँड फ्रॉम देअर वी यूज्ड टू गो अलॉंग द तीस्ता टू गँगटॉक अँड देन अबाउट 150 miles ahead. सो इथे कसं आहे की देर इज ईस्ट सिक्कीम, वेस्ट सिक्कीम अँड नॉर्थ सिक्कीम. तर आमचं युनिट नॉर्थ सिक्कीमला वी वर द फॉरवर्ड मोस्ट पोस्ट. ही तीस्ता नदी जी जाते आणि ती जी बायफर्केट होते, समवेअर हिअर वी वर देयर, राईट. अँड ऑन इन ईस्ट सिक्कीम देयर वॉज a couple of other units deployed. They were directly facing China here, and we were looking at guarding the access which is coming down from the Tista. Okay, so anyway access असतात, कारण डोंगरात काय होतं की जिथे अशी व्हॅली असते, that is the only possible way of kind of coming in. So can you guys see the map?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, so this is how the map is, So this is what our unit was. आणि basically आम्ही काय करतो, unit म्हणजे काय, the fighting unit is a battalion. Okay, so since I'm talking about it, I have a diagram. Okay, I think कोणीतरी प्रश्न विचारला होता की how you guys are organized, So the smallest fighting unit really is a battalion. Okay, a battalion has about 1,000 people. And so when I say my unit, so 5 Assam regiment was a battalion, So like that, there'll be 4 Assam, 6 Assam, 7 Assam, 8 Assam. So each of these are battalions. So the battalion has 1,000 people. Yeah. So how do these 1,000 people happen? So right at the bottom on the left-hand side is what is called as a section. Okay. Before that, what will come is a soldier, the individual soldier, and 10 such soldiers make a section. Okay. And here section is the smallest unit, and the section मध्ये 10 लोक, you can send them on a mission and they can successfully do it because they have rifles, they have one light machine gun, and they have a 2-inch millimeterचा एक मोटर असते त्यांच्याकडे. So they are kind of self sufficient. आणि हे 10 लोकांचं सेक्शन असतं. हे 3 सेक्शन मेक अ प्लटून, and 3 platoons make a company, and 6 companies make a battalion. तर ह्या 6 कंपन्या ज्या असतात, which basically there would be 4 companies which are called the rifle companies, which are standard, and then there are 2 companies which are specialist companies. So I'll come to that later. So basically this is how we are structured, and we form a battalion. Then 3 such battalions would form a brigade, and 3 such brigades would form a division, and 3 such divisions would form a corps, and then there is command. So if Pune मध्ये southern command आहे, बरोबर. So under southern command, there will be 2 or 3 different corps, and then under that divisions, brigade, right? So असे आर्मी मध्ये आपल्या 6 कमांड्स आहेत. So there is eastern, western, northern, southern command, and then there is a central command, and then there is a training command. असे 6 कमांड्स आहेत, and each of these commands have. So there are about 35 lakh soldiers in the Indian army. So I thought I'll just share this because there was a question on that. Yeah. So when I say that we were deployed here, so our base location was Sevak Road, but we only had one company here. एक कंपनी लोकेशन आमची इथे होती, because most of the things we were doing petroleum. पण हे आत्ता जर बघितलं सिच्युएशन, आय एम टॉकिंग अबाउट माय फर्स्ट पोस्टिंग. सो राईट नाव आय बिलीव्ह देर इज अ फुल ब्रिगेड डिप्लॉयड इन नॉर्थ सिक्कीम. ओके, so because obviously there are escalations and all that, so things are different, right? So in our time it was like a completely unoccupied. So you can imagine that you with one company with 150 people, you can't occupy any meaningful space. So you only do active patrolling. Okay, so this is Sikkim. This is the thing. So this is a beautiful camp. आमचा असा बेस कॅम्प असायचा छानपैकी, मस्तपैकी डोंगरात. And then we used to go for patrolling. But the jungle when we did patrolling looked more like this. There was horrible jungle. आणि तर दोन गोष्टी मला आठवतात सिक्कीमच्या. एक म्हणजे every day when we came back from patrolling. So patrolling basically is an activity where you go and patrol the borders or as close to the border to get enemy information. की काही build-up होतीये का, is there some movement seen, are there any new landmarks. So हे सगळं patrolling मध्ये आम्ही information gather करतो. So every day people go on different patrols and we have a kind of a plan for patrolling plan. So हे पेट्रोलिंग झाल्यानंतर आम्ही दर वेळेस जेव्हा परत यायचो संध्याकाळचे, तो एक मोठं काम आम्हाला असं असायचं की वी वर ऑल अटॅक बाय लीचेस. किती जरी प्रोटेक्शन घेतलं तर ते दोज लीचेस ते असे फिरतात ते. सो द लीचेस यूज टू गेट ऑन टू आवर इनसाइड आवर शूज अँड ऑन टू आवर लेग्स. ईच ऑफ अस वुड हॅव अबाउट 7 to 10 लीचेस एव्हरी डे. आणि हे जे लीचेस जे आहेत ना, दे सक ब्लड अँड दे डोंट, इज व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट टू पुल देम आउट. तुम्ही असं ओढलं तर ते निघतच नाही. तर त्याच्यासाठी सिगरेटचे यू गो लाईट अ सिगरेट आणि त्याच्या अगेनही तुम्हाला ते बर्न करून काढावे लागतात. ऑल ऑफ अस हॅड डिझायनर फीट, प्रत्येकाचे ठिपके 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 अशा आमच्या सगळ्यांच्या पायावर, बिकॉज देर नो एस्केप. आणि ते लीच एस्केप करायसाठी वी यूज टू पुट सम ऑइल, आणि मग त्याच्यावर आम्ही ते आमचे अँकलेट्स आणि पट्टे आणि सगळं बांधायचो. इन्स्पायर्ड ऑफ ऑल दॅट दे मॅनेज टू गेट इन. And sometimes we used to hear some loud screams coming from the barracks, so we knew that the leeches climbed up to a place where it is not supposed to. आम्ही सगळे हसायचो, पण it was very painful when it happened to you. Okay, the other thing I remember of Sikkim is हे सगळं लीच वगैरे झाल्यानंतर then we used to freshen up and gather together, आणि every day we used to sing a song, आणि I'll just sing a few lines of that song. So it was डेल्टा डेल्टा डेल्टा, शत्रु करेगा उल्टा, हर काम में है आगे, दुश्मन देखो भागे, डेल्टा डेल्टा डेल्टा. असं बेसिकली इट्स अ कंपनी सॉन्ग. सो डेल्टा इज डी कंपनी, नॉट दाऊदवाला कंपनी. सो डी म्हणजे आर्मीमध्ये आम्ही काय करतो, अल्फाबेट जे असतात ना त्याच्यासाठी देर आर अब्रिव्हिएशन. सो देर इज अल्फा ब्रेवो चार्ली, एबीसी, डेल्टा इको फॉक्सट्रॉट, DEF, and then similarly XYZ will be X-ray Yankee Zulu. So these abbreviations are used in our communication and telephony and everything. ABCD वापरत नाही. So Delta was D company. So I was part of the D company. And then we had this song, Delta, 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 Shatru Karega Ulta. Now these kind of things, they increase the bonding, and they inculcate a spirit of, team, and saying that we are the best and, we'll kill all the enemy. असे सगळे त्याचे वर्डिंग असतात, आणि डे इन अँड डे आउट सिंगिंग दोज, आणि एकत्र सगळं त्याचं बॉन्डिंग आमचं होत असतं. सो दॅट इज अ व्हेरी गुड थिंग ऑन दी आर्मी, विच पीपल डोंट नो आउटसाइड, दॅट वी सिंग अ लॉट ऑफ सॉंग्स. आणि मी एक लिंक शेअर केली होती, त्याच्यात एक आमचं रेजिमेंटल सॉन्ग आहे, सो दॅट रेजिमेंटल सॉन्ग ऍक्च्युली, इफ यू हॅव टाइम आय विल प्ले इट इन द एंड. सो दॅट ऍक्च्युली इज अ नंबर 1 song of the Indian Army. So if you do a Google search for Assam regimental song, you will find that it is the number 1 song in amongst regimental songs, and it is a very peppy number. And so that's another thing that we sing. So there are many songs in a regiment. So there will be a company. Our company itself will have 2-3 songs. The other song will be like, D company mera jaan se bhi pyara, D company mera jaan se bhi pyara, varenge is par tan man, varenge is par tan man, so stuff like that. So हे गाणे माझ्या लक्षात आहेत, आणि the leeches is what I remember from this place. Okay, so let me take you back to how I landed up in Sikkim. The SSB चं सिलेक्शन झाल्यानंतर, okay guys, am I going okay or too slow? Fast?
एकदम.
Continue ना? Okay, good.
आता एक क्वेश्चन आहे.
Yeah.
तुम्ही रेजिमेंट म्हणताय, आणि मग तुम्ही जे पूर्ण तो हे दाखवला, स्मॉल ग्रुप फॉर्मिंग बिगर ग्रुप्स, त्याच्यात मग रेजिमेंट कुठे येतं?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so what happens is that this is a flat structure. This doesn't talk about regimentation. Okay. Now what happens is आता Assam regiment, the government ठरवलं की बाबा आता, for example, Naga. So now government has decided to create a Naga regiment. So what they will do, they go to Nagaland and then they take a survey and all that, and then they'll get a first bunch of people who want to join. And then they will create out of the initial people 1 battalion. They'll raise 1 battalion of Naga regiment. Okay, and जसं जसं त्यांची स्ट्रेंथ वाढत गेली, then they'll create the 2nd battalion, then they'll create the 3rd battalion. So let us say now there are 3 battalions of the Naga regiment, right? So now they could be posted anywhere in the country. This is आमचं Assam regiment, so it doesn't have to be only in Assam. Okay, So like I was in Sikkim, then I was in Lucknow, then I was in Ladakh, then I was in Binaguri, then I was, so you keep getting different postings. So when you are in that particular location, so for example, Sikkim, आता आमची जी battalion होती 5 ची, that was in, let's say, Sevak Road, which is in Siliguri. Yeah? The second one was in New Jalpaiguri. The third one was in Sukna, which is near Darjeeling. And all these three together made a brigade, and the brigade headquarters was in Siliguri. Okay, and three such brigades, which again were deployed in that area, they made a division, and the division was in New Jalpaiguri. And all these divisions together made a corps. The corps headquarters was in Sukna. Hey, that is an operational unit. And for creating the operational unit, the army headquarters figures out ki kutli battalion kuthe halwayachi. So there's a great algorithm that they work on, and nobody knows how it works. But yeah, you keep transferring the battalions alternately. एकदा piece, एकदा field, एकदा piece, एकदा field. म्हणजे त्यांना ब्रेक मिळाला पाहिजे. एक piece area मध्ये नंतर field area, right? So that rotation happens through some algorithm. But this is how the structure moves. I mean, this is how it is kind of structured. Yeah. So that is a good question. Yeah. So it's not necessary that in a brigade all three battalions will be Assam regiment. No.
Oh, it can just be from any.
एक गुरखा, एक आसाम, एक पंजाब, कुठले पण असतील.
काका, I think तुम्ही सांगितलं, बहुतेक मी मिस केलं. Once assigned, do you spend your entire career in one regiment? Do you move between regiments?
Yeah. So that's a good question again. So basically काय आहे की एकदा तुम्ही एक regiment join झाली, so that becomes your parent regiment. So my parent unit is 5 Assam regiment, which will be there for my life. Okay. But while I am in 5 Assam regiment, I will keep going out and coming back for a period of time, okay, till I become a full colonel. But once I become a full colonel, then I move out. Then I don't come back to the unit because the unit has no place for colonels and below. Okay. So structure pramane फक्त आमच्या टायमाला it was lieutenant colonel, now it is colonel. Okay. So only up to that rank you have a place in a battalion. So in a battalion there are 1,000 people, there are only 20 officers. आणि हा दुसरा एक पॉइंट आहे म्हणजे आसाम रेजिमेंट में व्हॉट एम आय डुईंग फ्रॉम महाराष्ट्र, करेक्ट? तर ते काय करतात, द ट्रूप्स आर फ्रॉम दॅट रिजन पण ऑफिसर्स आर मिक्स्ड. सो म्हणजे 20 ऑफिसर्स इन माय बटालियन, देयर वॉज समबडी फ्रॉम कुमाऊ, somebody was a Gurkha, somebody was from Rajasthan, somebody is from Chennai, it's a mix. So the officers are mixed, the Jawans are homogeneous.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so it remains your parent unit, but you don't hang around there beyond probably 10 years, 15 years max.
I see.
And the faster you move out, you're doing better in life because then you keep getting different posting. Then you go to brigade as this thing, and you go to, you get a divisional role, you get a corps. So different roles that are, available for different ranks. So people who are generally doing well keep moving out most of the time.
I see.
काका, याच्यात रँक्स कसे असतात या सेम सिस्टम मध्ये? That doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, so I'll tell you. The section मध्ये there are no officers. Okay, so they're all Jawans. And तो section commander जो असेल, he will either be a lance nayak or a hawaldar. आता अमेरिकन आर्मी मध्ये कसं असतं, लॅन्स कॉर्पोरल आणि सार्जंट. So we all know this structure. हॉलिवूड मुव्हीज मध्ये सार्जंट इज देअर, राईट? सो आपल्याकडे सार्जंट इज अ हवालदार, आणि हवालदारच्या खाली असतो नायक, म्हणजे 2 पट्ट्या, स्लीव्स वर 2 पट्ट्या असतात, आणि हवालदारच्या 3 पट्ट्या असतात, आणि लान्स नायकच्या 1 पट्टी असते. तर इन अ सेक्शन यू विल आयदर हॅव अ लान्स नायक और अ नायक कमांडिंग द सेक्शन, देन यू गो टू प्लाटून, देन यू हॅव अ प्लाटून हवालदार, अँड इन अ प्लाटून यू मे स्टिल नॉट हॅव एन ऑफिसर, राईट? तर वेन यू गो टू अ कंपनी लेवल, जिथे 150 लोक असतील, तिथे एक कंपनी कमांडर असणार आहे आणि एक कंपनी ऑफिसर असणार आहे. द कंपनी कमांडर वुड टिपिकली बी अ मेजर, अँड कंपनी ऑफिसर वुड बी अ सेकंड लेफ्टनंट लाईक मी. सो वेन आय वॉज इन द डेल्टा कंपनी इन सिक्कीम, आय वॉज अ सेकंड लेफ्टनंट, अँड आय हॅड अ कंपनी कमांडर कॉल्ड ओंगचू शेर्पा, वॉज अ गुरखा. ओके, सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द कंपनी दॅट यू आर ॲलोकेटेड. सो देन इथे आता तुमचे 2 ऑफिसर आले, राईट? सो इफ यू लुक ॲट 6 कंपनीज इन अ बटालियन, so there you have 6/2, 12 officers straight away in the companies. And then there are some administrative roles. Then again, there would be some 3-4 officers there. So allocated 20 आहेत, पण 17-18 साधारण एका battalion मध्ये officers असतात. आणि battalion is commanded, during our time it was commanded by a lieutenant colonel. Now it is commanded by a full colonel. Okay, so full colonel, lieutenant colonel is that. Lieutenant colonel has 1 Ashok Chakra and 1 star. and a full colonel has 1 Ashok Chakra and 2 stars. So that's the only difference. And when you become a full colonel, you get a red tab on your collar. When you're a lieutenant colonel, you have a normal collar. Okay, so there are all these fancy things happen in the army around the dress. काय गोष्टी add होत राहतात आणि decorative होत राहतात. It's very interesting. Anyway, so does that answer your question, officers?
Oh.
Then typically a brigade would be brigade commander, division would be either a major general or a lieutenant general. So then again goes on. So the head of the army is a lieutenant general, and then there's a general. So India has had a few generals, and India has even had a few field marshals. So there's Field Marshal Karyappa and Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. Yeah, the two field marshals that we've had, and interestingly, I remember me college मध्ये होतो फर्ग्युसन मध्ये आणि तेव्हा मी एक रायफल फायरिंग क्लब जॉईन केलं होतं आणि ते रायफल फायरिंग महाराष्ट्र मंडळमध्ये होतं. टिळक रोडला आहे ना महाराष्ट्रामध्ये. तिथे आम्ही जाऊन ते भेटायचो मध्ये. दे टू टेक अस टू अ फायरिंग रेंज. इंटरेस्टिंगली व्हॉट हॅपन्ड इज द डे वी फिनिश द कोर्स, सॅम मानेकशॉ केम टू शेक हँड्स. It was so amazing. So it was a great moment for us at that point in time. And then, incidentally, sort of ghum phir ke I ended up in the army, and Sam Manekshaw became a role model. Of course, not that I went his path to become a general, but yeah, I have I take great pride in saying that, hey, Sam Manekshaw was my role model. Okay, so that the rank structure. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you join a commissioned officer as lieutenant, ka? You start with
second lieutenant.
Okay.
Second lieutenant म्हणून मी जॉईन झालो, and then second lieutenant to lieutenant, and lieutenant to captain, and captain to major असं होतं. These are the steps.
Right.
Okay, so since you are on the rank structure, what happens is there is so आजकाल कसं आहे की by time scale everybody becomes a colonel. Up to a colonel, as long as you stick on in the army, you will become a colonel. If you leave the army, then obviously you leave at whatever rank. Okay, so like I left in less than 10 years and I came out as a captain. Okay, though in the field area for some time I was an acting major, but that doesn't count because the substantive rank is what counts. That's what it was. So I came out as a captain. So आणि खूप अभ्यास असतो आर्मीमध्ये, परीक्षा वगैरे द्याव्या लागतात. So you want to become a captain, you have to clear a few exams. You want to become a colonel, you have to clear a few. You must have heard of Staff College in Wellington. So until you clear that, you can't become a full colonel. You qualify in Staff College. And then there's NDC, National Defense College. So वेगवेगळे टप्पे असतात. So it has to be a combination of how you do in those exams and how you're doing on ground and in your roles and what kind of reports you've been getting. The appraisal, so there are appraisals there also. So all those things happen. Yeah.
So तुमचा तो मगाचा फोटो कॅप्टन असतानाचा होता का? It had 3 stars.
3 star, correct. So that's the photo of my captain's rank. So when I joined, it was 1 star.
तुम्ही किती वर्षाचे होता जॉईन केला तेव्हा? कारण त्या फोटोत तर खूप यंग दिसताय तुम्ही.
I think I was 22.
ओके.
हो, सेम विचार करत होतो मी. मग तुम्ही कॅप्टन आहात तेव्हा तुम्ही म्हणजे यू वर लाईक लेट 20s.
Sorry. When I joined, it was 22. So this must be 25 or something. That must be 25, 26.
नाही.
25, 26. I think all of us look that way at that age, no? ठीक आहे.
हो, 3-4 वर्षात एवढी प्रमोशन्स. कॅप्टन बराच वर आहे, राईट? लेफ्टनंट मग
नाही ते फार फास्ट असतं. Second lieutenant to lieutenant is typically 1.5-2 years. Okay, and lieutenant to captain is 2 to 3 years.
हो.
ठीक आहे, तर ते लगेच असतं.
अच्छा.
Yeah. And then captain to major is 9 years, and major to lieutenant colonel is 12 years, and lieutenant colonel to full colonel is 18 years. They सगळं the steps are there.
Is this mostly dependent on duration की असं म्हणजे
नाही, दोन आहेत. One is, so basically आधीचे ज्या सगळ्या ranks आहेत ना, they are all based on duration. Duration subject to your clearing the required exams. So nobody gets a promotion out of turn. So suppose I am commissioned 6 months before somebody else. Okay, then I will keep getting promotions till I don't mess up somewhere. So if I mess up, then the next guy will go up. So otherwise it is sequential and it is purely based on your this thing. The promotion by selection happens after lieutenant colonel. Lieutenant colonelच्या पुढच्या सगळ्या रँक्स ज्या आहेत त्या सिलेक्शनने होतात. And actually, if you look at the smartness of the Indian Army, so the way the apex is built, the structure is very, very narrow on the top. So not all capable generals become generals. Okay, there are a whole lot of guys who easily can be, good generals, but they can't because there is just few vacancies. So the structure keeps getting narrow, and therefore, after lieutenant colonel, things become very different. There are different algorithms that apply. Selections, vacancies. So something for approval ना बरेच लोक कर्नल सेकंड लेफ्टनंट टू लेफ्ट कर्नल अप्रुव्हलसाठी किंवा कर्नल टू ब्रिगेड अप्रुव्हलसाठी थांबतात. And if they do not get approved, then they come out. असे पण लोक आहेत बरेच. Because it doesn't make sense. You are capable. You can get the other rank, but you have to wait because somebody else. There's no place on the top. तर असंही होतं बरेच. Yeah. So. Correct. So up to a lieutenant colonel, there's no issue about picking up the rank. It's only after that. Yeah. Okay. So if there are no more questions, I'll move on. Okay, this is where we were, right? Okay, so I'll just quickly tell you what happens at the Officers Training Academy. तुम्ही सिलेक्ट झालो आणि मग सिलेक्ट झाल्यानंतर लेटर आलं की बाबा यू हॅव टू रिपोर्ट टू दिस प्लेस अँड सो अँड सो डेट. आणि मग त्यांचे इन्स्ट्रक्शन्स खूप छान डिटेलमध्ये असतात. त्याच्यात सांगतात की हाऊ मेनी व्हाईट शर्ट्स, हाऊ मेनी ट्राउझर्स, हाऊ मेनी टाईज, हाऊ मेनी बेल्ट्स, हाऊ मेनी हँकीज, हाऊ मेनी नाईट सूट्स, हाऊ मेनी गाऊन्स, म्हणजे इच अँड एव्हरीथिंग, हाऊ मेनी टॉवेल्स, हाऊ मेनी नॅपकिन्स, असं सगळं फुल डिटेलमध्ये असतं. शूज कुठल्या पॅटर्नचे, ऑक्सफोर्ड पॅटर्नचे, कुठल्या रंगाचे, ऑल डिटेल्स आर गिवन अँड यू आर सपोज टू पॅक युअर बॅग एक्झॅक्टली द वे दे टेल यू टू. आणि मग ते ट्रंक एक असते आणि एक बॅग असते आणि होल्डॉल असते. आमच्या टायमाला बेडिंग असायचं, होल्डॉल जसं रोल करायचो आम्ही, त्यात गादी बिदी असायची. So that is what we did. We picked that up, we put it in so we get the train fare, train travel असायचा. So very happy, selected in the army वगैरे मस्तपैकी बसून ट्रेन मध्ये बसून पोहोचलो आम्ही रेल्वे स्टेशनला. these guys were sitting with a desk to welcome us. मग त्यांनी वेलकम केलं आणि ते सांगितले बघा बाहेर सगळ्या ट्रक्स उभे आहेत, त्याच्यात जाऊन बसा. आम्ही कुलीला सांगितलं सामान डालो वगैरे वगैरे, मस्तपैकी जाऊन ट्रकमध्ये बसलो आम्ही. 20-30 जे काही लोक तेव्हा पोहोचले. And then the truck took us to Officers Training Academy. And we entered the gates, and on either side there are large grounds. And suddenly we saw that there were a lot of people in semi-undressed condition, and there was a lot of chaos happening around it. Wondering what the hell is happening, Before we could realize, we had two guys coming screaming at us. You're not here on a picnic. Bloody get down. Open your trunk and take out your clothes and get dressed in formals. तिथेच so right there, full scramble. संदूक हुडका, खाली काढा, किल्ली काढा, उघडा, take out your formals, your tie and all those things and get dressed right there. And what everybody else was doing is what we had to do anyways. And we realized that we are all part of the same game. And while this is happening, those people are showering the choicest of galis on you and making you feel like scum, absolutely. So you wonder what the hell has happened here. Anyway, so then from there, when you get into a tie, and tikde registration desk asto, which is about 500 meters away. Then the journey from your truck to the registration desk is very entertaining because you don't walk. Then you either are rolling, okay, together after you tell you, okay, front roll, side roll, back roll. And if you mess up, then you come back all the way back to the truck and you start again. So the distance of 500 meters you cover in about hour and a half. And by the time you reach there, you don't know where your tie is, where your shirt is, what the hell has happened to you, So a lot of people there itself decide that I have come to the wrong place, let me go back, take a train back home. So then there are some counselors who kind of they're sent to and say, hey, boy, look at this guy. So it's a torture, physical torture, intentionally done. And they mess you up completely, so you don't know, completely disoriented, So then after that you register and then you're given one number. And said, okay, this is your number for all your entire duration. I still remember the number. Mine was 12048, So you better remember the number because everything happened on that number. And you're called GC, which is a gentleman cadet. So I'm a gentleman cadet 12048. Okay. So then I get my number and then the ragada continues and then they tell you, okay, this is your barrack. So I was allocated Nowshera company. There were 4 companies, Nowshera, Mactila, Jasami and Kohima. Those are the names of the companies. So I was given Nowshera company and I was shown this is your barrack. मग आता काय कुली फिली काही नाही. मग then you go take your own bags, drag your trunk, and you go to the barrack. So then they again torture you to take you for dinner. And by the time you are back in your barracks for the first day, it is past midnight. And then there are instructions that morning 3 o'clock there will be shave parade. Morning's 3 o'clock. Everybody assembles for a shave parade. So now, what is a shave parade? Shave parade is that in your nightgown, okay, you shave yourself in the morning, and they want to see how good you have shaved. If you have any mustaches and beards, get rid of them and come there at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, all of us are there groggy. After shaving, we go there. You know? Then these guys come and say, guys, you've shaved. Okay, let's see how good a job you've done. Because before they tell you, you shave like you're going for your wedding, you know. It's your wedding day, so you must be really properly shaved. So मग ते काय करतात तिकडे येऊन मग ते तुमच्या इथे असे करतात. Because you know that everywhere else is good, you know. This is a place where there's a problem, you know. So they do like this and then they say, what the bloody hell. You know, they'll pull you and say, okay, go back and shave again. असे 4-5 चक्रा सगळ्यांच्या होतात. मग सगळ्यांना शेवटी कोणाची शेव त्यांना पसंत होत नाही. Then they tell everybody to go and get their razors. So all of us are standing there with our razors and doing shave. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, so now we are really, really clean shaven, you know. All that ragda happens and all that. Okay. Then we have breakfast and all, and then we are taken to haircut. So the haircut साठी आम्ही जेव्हा त्या बार्बर शॉप मध्ये जातो, तर बार्बर शॉप इज अ व्हेरी अगेन अ व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग प्लेस बिकॉज त्या बार्बर शॉप मध्ये अशी मोठी दूर असतं. सो बिफोर ओनली यू स्टॉप अँड नाव यू हॅव टू गेट इन टू क्यू. तर ती भिंत जी तिथली आहे ना, त्या भिंतीवर अशा एका स्पॉटला सगळे काळे 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 दिसतात. You wonder what the hell is this kaleda. So basically, when you stand in the line, you don't stand on your feet. You stand on your hands and your legs are on the wall. तुमचे ते बुटाचे जे मार्क्स आहेत ना ते तिकडे त्या भिंतीवर दिसतात. सो यू आर इन दॅट पोझिशन टिल युअर नंबर कम्स अँड सो हँड्स डाऊन लेग्स अप आणि तुम्ही थकला आणि पडला की देयर इज अ गाय टू किक यू अँड मेक यू स्ट्रेट अगेन, यू नो. सो दॅट होल प्लेस टिल द टाइम यू गो टू द बार्बर, यू नो, यू आर अपसाइड डाऊन. And by the time you reach the barber, you're in no state to know what haircut to tell him because you anyway don't have a choice. So तुमचे केस पीस सगळे फार सपाचट करून टाकतो आणि then you are ready for the game. Okay. So this torture continues and some people want to, you know, not take it and then go back. And in the first week or so, you feel that you must have done some, you know, committed some sin in the past life that you are, you know, here doing this, you know, stupid training. So that's how it goes through your mind. Anyway, so the first week when this, you know, this ragda, it's called ragda. So there is shave and there is ragda also. So then this ragda continues. It gets a little more sophisticated, you know. So the sophistication is that first you did front rolls, you know, in your formals. Now you do the same front rolls, but now what they do is they give you a big pack, and the big pack मध्ये एक shell असते. 22 किलोची एक सिमेंट कॉन्क्रीटची एक shell असते, which is like an artillery shell. That shell is inside that big pack. So when you bend forward, it hits you on the neck first. And then when you turn over, it hits you on the head. Okay. And then you further turn, it hits you on the back, and then you get up. So असं करत करत तुम्ही जाता. So by the time you go, your back is nicely done up. All kinds of things, you know, have happened to your neck and your head and your backside. So that is for one level of sophistication. Then the other one is you do normally fireman lift. So पहिल्या दिवशीच तुम्हाला कोणाला तरी अंगावर घेऊन पळायला सांगतात. इथे काय करतात, there is a बल्ली. कन्स्ट्रक्शनच्या ज्या लाकडी बल्ल्या असतात ना, wooden poles. So you put those there are two guys holding and there is one guy hanging in the middle. And if one guy is not enough, there are 2-3 guys on that balli. You know? So, and then you run with that. Another level of sophistication is you have ropes. Rope climbing, तुम्ही बघितलं असेल, ropes लावलेले असतात. So what they do is tell you there are 30 people who are told to climb one rope. पहिले दोघं गेले, दुसरे गेले. 30 guys are hanging onto the rope and there is no command to get down. You keep holding on till either the rope breaks or somebody gives up. And you can imagine if somebody gives up, 30 लोक असे म्हणजे 30 लोकांचा ढीग असा कसा पडतो खाली जमिनीवर. So that's how it gets very interesting as we go along. And other than this, of course, the regular training continues where, you know, you are trained in drill, in, you know, physical training, obstacle course, हे सगळं चालू असतं. अजून 1-2 इंटरेस्टिंग गोष्टी माझ्या लक्षात, एक बॉक्सिंग बाउट होती. या So in that, so everybody has to do boxing, everybody has to do swimming, everybody has to do horse riding. सगळ्यांना करावं लागतं. So boxing bout होती. So we trained for boxing. So my opponent was another guy, you know, just like me. His name was Datta. So Datta आणि मी आम्ही बॉक्सिंग साठी आलो तिकडे. तर दत्ता आणि माझ्या अशा गप्पा चालू झाली की अरे आपण नको एक दुसऱ्या जोरात मारायला, आपण जरा हळूहळू करू. विल डू ऑल द थिंग्स दॅट दे हॅव टॉट अस, पण यू नो लेट्स डू बी अ लिटल कॉशियस, आपण जरा हळू खेळू. म्हणलं हो ठीक आहे, नो प्रॉब्लेम, हळू खेळू. मग आम्ही गेलो रिंगमध्ये. मग रिंगमध्ये गेल्यानंतर बॉक्स ऑन. मग आम्ही चालू केलं स्ट्रेट पंच, असा हुक, असा सगळं दाखवलं आम्ही कसं कसं करायचं ते. Obviously they could figure out if something is wrong. So the guy came and said, "Stop." Okay, now when I say box, are you going to box or not? Yes, sir. Box. परत थोडं जरा जास्त केलं आम्ही, पण अगेन वी वर शॅमिंग. सो दे फिगर्ड आउट अँड DS came and he said stop the bout. आणि स्टॉप केल्यानंतर त्यांनी तिथं उस्ताद असतो, so the ustad who actually trains us. So in Pune you might have seen ASPT वगैरे तिथे उस्ताद असतात, and they're like really stout looking guys. The शॉर्ट्स मध्ये असतात आणि रेड स्टॉकिंग्स असतात त्यांचे साधारण. That's the way to kind of make them out. So anyway, so he got the ustad and said अभि you fight with the ustad. तो दत्ताला बाजूला केलं आणि त्याला मला त्यांनी उभं केलं आणि म्हणजे फाईट बॉक्स. So that ustad gave me one on my stomach and I fell on flat. खटकन मी खाला अख्खा आडवा पडलो मी खाली. One, of course, I got hit badly. Second is, I didn't want to get hit more. So मी पडलो आणि म्हणलं झालं. Then the whole school was yelling, get up, fight. मध्ये थोडासा जोश आला, and then I got up. And then again I got a few hits, पण the body warm up झाल्यामुळे I also gave a couple of good hits to the guy. But obviously I completely was getting bashed up. And fortunately somebody rang the gong and I survived. नाही तर मी परत पडून खाली बसणार होतो. So there is no escape. There is no escape to from good training. And if you want to learn, you have to pay the price. So that is one example I wanted to share with you. अजून गमतीदार म्हणजे ट्रेनिंग मध्ये दर 2 आठवड्याला पिक्चर असायचा ओपन एअर मध्ये. ओपन एअर मूवीज used to happen. No cadet is interested in the movie because he's dead tired. He just wants time to sleep. In fact, पहिला महिनाभर my parents were worried because there was no letter. Everybody's parents were worried because where is the time? There's no time to write letter and say मस्त मी पोचलो, असं झालं तसं झालं, काहीच नाही. We are completely lost. Anyway, so त्या मूवी हॉल मध्ये सगळे बेसिकली झोपायसाठी जातो आम्ही. तर त्या मूवी हॉल मध्ये असे आधीचे लोखंडी खुर्च्या, इफ यू रिमेंबर, बॅक ओपन असते त्याची, छोटासा पट्टा असतो टेकायला. सो दोज चेअर्स वी आर सिटिंग. नाउ व्हॉट दे डू इज ऑल द ज्युनियर्स सिट इन वन लाईन आणि त्याच्या मागे सगळे सिनियर बसतात आणि त्यांना माहिती की आता हे सगळे झोपणार आणि ते झोपली की मागून असा गुडघा पाठीत थडाक करू लागतो. सो द होल मूवी इज अ टॉर्चर. सो इन्स्पायर्ड ऑफ दॅट, इफ यू वॉन्ट टू स्लीप देन यू स्लीप. लागू द्या किती लागतात, मी असं झोपणार आहे. असे पण बरेच लोक झोपतात. सो I am just giving you all the interesting stuff that happens, but actually we are trained as soldiers. Okay, so we learn all about weapons, rifles, pistols, carbines, grenades. So we learn all about warfare. So there is attack, there are operations of attack, defense, patrolling, ambush, and raids. So all these things we learn. We learn about army communication. We learn about leadership. Okay, so we learn about all everything that you need to be a soldier. आणि हे सगळं झाल्यानंतर आम्ही we prepare for the passing out parade. So all these smartly dressed people and the amount of hard work that goes in, and these ustads who kind of make you bang your feet on the ground all the time. उन्हात आम्ही खूप प्रॅक्टिस करतो, and the result of which is amazing. And I think those of us who are in Pune, if you haven't gone, you must go for a passing out parade. एक तरी इंडियामध्ये जाऊन पासिंग आउट परेड तुम्ही बघायलाच पाहिजे. इट्स अन अमेझिंग इव्हेंट. अँड आय थिंक द स्पिरिट अँड द पॅशन विथ विच द गाईज डू इट, बिकॉज दे बीन डुईंग इट इन अँड आउट. आणि मी आता मयुरेशला सांगत होतो की इव्हन वेन यू आर वॉकिंग ऑन द रोड, टू ऑफ युअर वॉकिंग, इफ यू जस्ट मॅच युअर स्टेप्स, इफ यू जस्ट ट्राय अँड मॅच अँड वॉक, इट जनरेट्स अ डिफरंट काइंड ऑफ एनर्जी, अँड यू रिअली दॅट रिदम काइंड ऑफ हिट्स यू. हे रिदम बेसिसवर इतकं छान वाटतं. सो वी लव्ह दिस ड्रिल अँड वी रिअली स्लॉक फॉर द ड्रिल. तर हे झाल्यानंतर पासिंग आउट परेडमध्ये यू बेसिकली गेट कमिशन अँड यू बिकम अ सेकंड लेफ्टनंट. अँड देन यू आणि बिफोर दॅट यू आर आस्क्ड की बाबा तुम्हाला कुठली रेजिमेंट जॉईन करायची. तुम्हाला चॉईस असतो की तुम्हाला कुठली रेजिमेंट जॉईन करायची. तो आय वॉज बेसिकली मी IIT वगैरे थोडंफार केलं होतं, हॅलिडे रेस्निक अँड ऑल दोज थिंग्स आय न्यू अ लिटल बिट, अँड स्फेरिकल ट्रिग्नॉमेट्री वगैरे काय काय शिकत होते आम्ही. इव्हन लेथ मशीन वगैरे आम्ही करायचो तिकडे. कमी करतो बिकॉज तिथे फर्स्ट इयरसाठी सगळं कॉमन असतं. फर्स्ट इयर इज कॉमन विथ दी रेग्युलर इंजिनिअरिंग गाईज. एनिवे, सो आय सेड आय वॉन्ट टू जॉईन द इंजिनियर रेजिमेंट. सो माय instructor was a major. So basically you go and you discuss that this is what I want to do. So he saw that and he took my form and he tore it. फाडून टाकला त्याने. तो म्हणलं, how can you join engineers? I said, why not, sir? I said, I have this thing and I want to go. Nothing doing. Guys like you, we need in the infantry. Fill up another form. आणि infantry भरवून सांगितलं मला. So I went and I filled up infantry. And then infantry मध्ये I gave 3 choices. So one was Maratha regiment, second was Assam regiment, and third was Brigade of Guards. Maratha I gave because of obviously reasons, and Assam regiment I gave because one of my drill ustad, he was from the Assam regiment, and I really loved that guy. So I said if I have to work with these kind of people, I'll enjoy. म्हणून मी Assam regiment दिलं होतं आणि तिसरं मी दिलं होतं Brigade of Guards, because Brigade of Guards मध्ये normally they take 6 foot people. All the guys there are tall guys. So anyway, I got Assam regiment, no regrets. It's such a fantastic unit that I went into. You can see the picture. I think this is the picture of the Assam regiment contingent that won the best marching contingent in the Republic Day parade in 2017. 2017 मध्ये Assam regiment contingent la first prize मिळालं. Anyway, so I joined Assam regiment. Our center is in Shillong, in Meghalaya. It's a lovely place, and the place where the center is called Happy Valley. So everybody is very happy in Shillong. It's a matrilineal society, but it's a beautiful place. So what happens here is these guys get recruited, and we see the whole process, and we see how they get recruited. आणि त्यांचं कसं त्यांची ड्रिल असतात आणि काय काय होतं. अच्छा, how are we doing on time? Any timekeeper?
Yeah, we have 1 hour अजून. काय प्रॉब्लेम नाही. म्हणजे we can go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll stop if there are any questions at this stage, and then I'll move on.
How long was your training period?
1 year. No, 1.5 year. OTS मध्ये ना.
Oh, अच्छा.
Yeah.
Okay. हो आणि
कसं होतं,
कंटिन्यू.
3 टाईपच्या एंट्रीज आहेत. एक एनडीए आहे. 12वी करून तुम्ही जाता एनडीए मध्ये. तुम्ही 3 वर्षाची ट्रेनिंग करता. त्या 3 वर्षाच्या ट्रेनिंगमध्ये तुम्हाला बेसिकली यू आर डुईंग ग्रॅज्युएशन. So you get a BA, BSc, whatever you pick up the subjects, and parallelly you get trained on the army way of life. So basically you become a soldier parallelly while you're doing your graduation. In आमच्या केसमध्ये कसं, we've already done graduation, so we have a concentrated dose of training in a year and a half time. असं असतं. Now what happens? The guys who do NDA, they finish 3 years and then they go to IMA for 1 year, which is Indian Military Academy. आणि तिथे जे एअरफोर्स करतात, they go to Secunderabad, and the people who choose Navy, they go to Cochin. So after that stint in NDA in Pune, they all do one year in different academies which they have chosen. If they've chosen Air Force, they do to Secunderabad. So that is how it is. The place where I did it is called Short Service Commission. Okay, the other places are permanent commission. That means you are in for good. Short Service Commission is for a minimum period of 5 years, which is extendable by 5 more years. It's extendable for good. But there is a choice for people to come out, and the reason they build that is very simple. Again, I spoke about that apex, right? So if the government gets maximum people in the range up to major, lieutenant colonel, it's good. After that, if they leave, very good for them, because they don't crowd up at the peak. So that is what it is. So I got into the short service. Of course, when I came in, I had no clue की काय आहे, because आमच्याकडे कोणीच नव्हतं आर्मी मध्ये वगैरे. Only thing I had was the instruction that I got for joining.
There is also SPI. One of my friend went there. Is it the same as NDA, or like Services Preparatory School or something?
No. That is, see, there are a lot of these institutes that have come up. This is basically to prepare people for getting into the army. So these are preparatory courses. And there is one more which is Bhosla Military School. So Bhosla Military School is again, I think it did start as a preparatory, but it eventually has become kind of an adventure. So people go there for adventure and learn a few things, horse riding, वगैरे करतात. But most of the others are training for the army. So it's basically tough. At the officer level, it's very tough. Jawan level ला एवढं tough नसतं, because एक तर काय की most of these people are not educated. आणि all they need to be is physically fit and mentally strong, and therefore recruitment offices जे असतात, recruiting zone म्हणजे आता पुण्यात आपल्या सदर्न कमांडच्या बाजूला अफाट गर्दी असते तिकडे. It's a tough job to so lot of demand. आणि ऑफिसरचं उलट झालंय, there is a shortage, and the reason for the shortage is because today smart people have a lot of options. IT मध्ये जाऊ शकता तुम्ही, काय काय मीडिया करू शकता, entertainment, there are a lot of areas that have opened up, so there is a shortage of officers. So it's a very kind of difficult situation. On one hand, you want the best people, and the other hand, you don't have enough people opting for it. So as एक norm है कि अरे हमारे टाइम पे क्या था, अभी पूरा कचरा हो गया. So that's a standard thing. I think it happens in every field. So we'll say that our time was great, and now it is not so much. Anyway, so that is. So there are only 3 institutes. There is National Defense Academy, there is IMA, and there is OTA.
हॅलो काका.
Yeah.
सॉरी, एक प्रश्न आहे. सो तुम्ही मेन्शन केलं की देर वेर दोज पीपल हू डिड लाईक 3 years ऑफ NDA, देन 1 year at respective places. And then there were people, who came to army like you, right, with 1.5 years of
After graduation.
right, yeah. So to me, and it particularly you were put in a leadership position, right, sort of, to begin with. So तुम्हाला तेव्हा ते कसं, म्हणजे how did you manage to lead people who are probably more trained in terms of the duration of their training? Like how was it for you, like especially at the beginning?
Yeah. So good question. But basically, कसं आहे ना, there is no discrimination between the two categories of training. So people who come out of Officers Training Academy and people who come out of National Defense Academy, people who come out of IMA, there is no discrimination. There is a 6-month loss of seniority when you get promoted at a colonel rank. So if let's say two people, somebody is passed out from NDA in June, okay, of a year, and somebody is passed out from OTA around the same time, let's say in September, right? But two guys of the same seniority are there bidding for the next rank. So at that point in time, the guy from the NDA will get a preference. But Baki operations and हे जे आहे, there is absolutely no difference. You don't even know that the guy is from NDA or from OTA or from where. Because the level of training is the same. The duration is more.
So you
After
can't
some
really
India,
sorry,
you can't
go
make
ahead.
out a difference. Yeah. You can't make out a difference. So there are generals who are from OTA, and there are generals who are from India IMA.
Oh, I see.
So त्या लेवलचं discrimination नसतं. Okay, so people when they join, because they are trained, only thing is the mode of training was different. In our case, it was like a concentrated dose of just the army training. In their case, it was spaced out over a period of time. However, to be frank and honest about it, the best Faujis are those that have come from Sainik school. ते 5वी पासून करतात माहिती आहे का, 5वी ते 10वी पर्यंत सैनिक स्कूल, त्याच्यानंतर NDA, त्याच्यानंतर IMA, त्याच्यानंतर फौज. You can't beat those guys. So some of the best guys in cross country, some of the best guys in any of these obstacle courses are those guys. You can't beat them. Yeah. See, so as an officer, you are in a leadership position, right? So you have to be in the top 5 because you are leading people. So suppose there is a race, okay, the 2-mile race तुम्ही पळताय. The 2-mile race मध्ये as an officer, you have to be ahead of your jawan. Not all of them, but at least more than 60-70% of them. So fitness levels and capability levels, they are same across the board. So the guy from an NDA will not be very different from a guy from an OTA. And there is no question that even if I'm 6 months senior, the guy under me doesn't have a problem reporting to me. That's not an issue. He will not think that I know more. No, definitely not. But yes, I mean, like in any other field, you have to be on the top of your job. So you got to know, you got to be a best marksman, and you got to be good in physical stuff. Everywhere.
Makes sense.
ते असतं. The only advantage in army is that hierarchy is sacrosanct. You're senior, you're senior. The guy bloody well salute you. If you're the senior, the junior guy has to salute you. There's no question. So ते होतं.
तुम्ही ट्रेनिंग बद्दल सांगताना मला अजून एक प्रश्न पडला होता की ऍटलिस्ट इन फर्स्ट फ्यू वीक्स कोणी असं हॉस्पिटलाइज झालं होतं का? नंतर तुम्ही
हो,
टर्न
होतं.
असाल?
होतात. Yeah, that's a good question. People fall down, people get fractures, people get boarded out medically.
हो.
म्हणजे एवढी हे होते की दे गेट बोर्डेड आउट. घोड्यावरून पडले की पार त्याचा लेग फ्रॅक्चर झाला आणि हॅड परमनंट प्रॉब्लेम इन द बॅक. सो ही हॅड टू बी बोर्डेड आउट. द गव्हर्नमेंट हॅड टू पे आउट. पण अशा लोकांना ते बोर्ड आउट करतात. आणि काही लोक म्हणजे लागतं पण मग थांबायचं तुम्ही मेडिकलमध्ये. दे विल फिक्स यू. देयर आर हॉस्पिटल्स देयर. दे विल फिक्स यू अँड दे सेंड यू बॅक. परत बॅक टू वर्क. सो ते चालू असतं. प्रत्येक वेळा जेव्हा परेड चालू असते, देर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड you have to report sick. When you report sick, you go to the doctor and he looks at you and he says, काहीतरी औषध काय पाहिजे, पट्टी जे काय करायचं ते करतो तो. But you are supposed to go to the parade. Okay, so while the parade is gathering, you are supposed to report there and they say, I'm reporting sick. So you just stand there and the whole other guys will do the parade, PTUD करा येणार आणि तेव्हापर्यंत तुम्ही तिथे उभे राहा किंवा बसा. But you are on duty.
So Kaka, sorry, जेव्हा when you get like whatever tortured किंवा does this go on for the whole training or is it just to kind of check who is able to withstand it for a couple of months आणि मग after that it stops? Does it just keep on going until you're done with the training?
No. It happens for your first term. Your first term is the torture term. In the second term, you do that to the other people.
Oh.
So I'm saying it is structured, but it is, it can also be classified as ragging.
Okay.
I mean, the things that I talked about. Otherwise, also the regular जे training असते त्याच्यातही भरपूर असतं.
Right.
Obstacle course and unarmed combat and all those things happen, but those are structured. This what I told you about is unstructured.
Oh,
As part of training, nobody will tell 30 people to climb one rope. No, they will not do that.
right.
In the training, they will tell you to do first class, second class, in different categories of rope climbing. So there is a rope climbing where you use your feet and your hands, both. You climb, which is called the third degree. The second degree is you don't use your legs, you only use your hands. Okay. And the first degree is you use only your hands, but your legs are at 90 degrees. And then you go up like that. So that's all part of the training. But the ragging is different. That's very kind of innovation they use. So that happens in the first term, and then next term you do it for the young guys.
There's another question I have on that. Is ragging more of a culture, or is it more of training you for if you're maybe caught in enemy hands, you can just sustain for a while? किंवा अजून काही त्याचा meaning आहे का? Why is it structured that way?
It's structured that way to make you tough, to make you lose your identity and think of yourself as just one number. I am in this team, this is my role, but I have to do that. If you're told to do something, you have to do it. So basically, it is not just physical, a lot of it is mental. See, mentally, if you have an ego, if you have a hang up, then you really get hassled. Then you have a lot of trouble. But once you decide, then you're into it. And this is only the initial period, because then after that, once you got commissioned, then you're the same guy who trained you will come and salute you. All the guys who boxed with you and all the guys, whatever they did, they will come and give you the due respect. So then you are, then you've done it all.
Interesting.
Thanks.
असं कधी झालंय का की कमांडिंग ऑफिसरचं ऐकणार नाही असं कोणीतरी रिप्लाय केलाय ज्युनियरनी? असं काही होतं का कधी?
हो, होतं ना. कधी कधी असं होऊ शकतं, पण that's a big risk, because then one is that guy will not get a good report.
Okay.
But if more people have kind of had a problem with the commanding officer and have complained to the brigade or somebody, then obviously there is somebody will look into it. But chances are you're just unlucky to have a boss like that. You're unlucky, simple, So you have to just lump it. But असं होतं, there are sometimes there are fights, and then they kind of at a junior level it is handled differently. At a senior level it is handled differently. So for example, in our unit, we were in Lucknow. We were called the Dirty Dozen because there were 12 of us who were bachelors. आणि मग आमचं तर धमाल चालायची तिकडे. So one day in the bar, I think I kind of not abused, but I kind of confronted, and I had a difference of opinion with the senior. Okay, Rengma, he was a Naga guy. So I had a slight difference of opinion with the guy. He's my senior. But all of us very sporting. He said, "Ek kaam karo abhi, buddy." He used to call me buddy. He said, "Ek kaam karo, buddy. Tonight you're not sleeping. Every 1 hour you will come to my room with a big pack, okay? And the moment I come out, you will go hands down, legs up, okay? Till I relieve you." So every 1 hour I had to go and do that. I mean, this is on a very friendly note. The next day we hugged each other and we are friends. But just the guy says, "Boss, I don't like this. You don't do this to me," and even in an informal setup. But this is a very rare thing. What I've told you, purely, it doesn't normally happen. Normally, even if you offend somebody, they will not ask you to do these kind of things. The first time you go and do that, then he'll say, "Okay, thank, great, no problem." So it happens, and sometimes some personalities are, they just don't match. So the guy is just waiting to go out on a course or go on some posting, but till that time, he has to be with that commanding officer. There's no choice. But then, it's the whole funda about the way the army works is that it is not dependent on an individual. Though of course, commanding officer is all powerful, and nothing moves without that. Maybe I'll share a story on that a little later. Yeah, so I hope you got a flavor of that. Yeah.
हो का माझं ऐकू येतं ना?
हो बोल.
So I had a question ki when you decided to like leave IIT and join the army, did you have a sense of what you were going to do in the future, say like 10 years down the line ki तुम्ही captain or major झाल्यावरती you're going to like leave the army and then do something else? Did you have that in mind already, or was it like a spur of the moment decision kind of?
It was a spur of the moment decision. I had
Okay.
absolutely no clue. I didn't even have a clue
Wow,
what
okay.
category of training I was going into. So it was a spur of the moment. I just went in. But there is there is one logic. I mean, obviously the question is then why did I leave, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
if I had, yeah. So what happens is that I mean there are a few things that happen. So when you join the army, the biggest thing you want to do is you want to fight a war. You want to kill somebody, or you want to basically be in active combat. So not everybody is lucky in that. So what my calculation was that 71 मध्ये लढाई झाली. त्याच्या आधी 62, 65 मध्ये लढाई झाली. त्याच्या आधी 47 मध्ये झाली. So every 10 years लढाई होते. So if I join in let's say 77, 78, around 80, 79, 80, 81 पर्यंत कुठेतरी लढाई होणार. काही लढाई झालीच नाही. त्यानंतर 90 मध्ये पण लढाई झाली नाही. 20 वर्ष लढाई झाली नाही. So you keep getting trained, and I had seen field area, I had seen peace area. I said, what the hell, I don't need to. So actually what happened, I put up my papers after 5 years. And I said, hey, good, great, I had a great time, I'm going. So my commanding officer said, what the hell, yeah? We are not going to relieve you. You can't leave. He said, no, but ho gaya sir, dekh liya pura, abhi kya, I don't want to continue. He said, no. So he said, ek kaam karo tum aur 5 saal ruko. Because things are not easy outside. So you take another 5 years, and then during that 5 years, I'll grant you leave. You go and you see whether how the market, and you get a job and all that. And then you come back and then you put up your papers. I said, sir, but I'm stuck for another 5 years. He said, no. There is a clause that you can apply for release in case you get an alternative. I said, okay, great. Then the army rule वगैरे काढून दाखवला. Then I took a decision. I said, ठीक है, so let me do that. So I opted for another 5 years, and I got another 5 years. So I was there for 10 years. आणि मग तिथे त्याच्यानंतर मग then I went on leave. In the 6th or 7th year. They went on leave. Then I I looked for a job. I didn't have to look much. I got Canon photocopying machines. तेव्हा जोरात होते. Office automation, and Chogule Industries was the company. They took me as they said, yeah, come and join us. And, we would be happy to have you. I said, Chalel, good. I said, I am a frontline guy. I'm not an engineer. I'm not qualified in finance. I'm not qualified in anything else. The only thing, I've been in the front line, and I've been educated graduate. So they said, yeah, so best is sales. So I got into sales, and I said, sales करूया. मग त्यांचा तो जॉब मिळाला. मग मी आर्मीत परत गेलो आणि म्हटलं, हे आय गॉट अ जॉब. सो आय शोड देम. आणि मग ते प्रोसेस केलं आम्ही सगळं ते नॉर्दर्न कमांड मधून. सो इट गोज टू लाईक आय शोड यू बटालियन टू ब्रिगेड टू कोर कोर टू आर्मी हेडक्वार्टर्स. मग ते सगळं फिरून 3 महिन्यानंतर परत आलं. सॉरी, वी कांट ग्रांट यू रिलीज. वी कांट ग्रांट यू रिलीज बिकॉज यू कॅनॉट जॉइन अ प्रायव्हेट कंपनी. You have to join a government firm, or you have to join a nationalized this thing. I said, "ठीक है, बोल जाओ, I'll continue." I forgot about it, and I continued. Yeah. I mean, by the time our unit moved from Northern Command to Eastern Command वगैरे. मग त्याच्यानंतर 1-1.5 वर्षानंतर एक आर्मी हेडक्वार्टरचा मेसेज आला की there are some changes in the rules, and I had applied, for a release. So is that something that you want to look at because some changes have happened? So then again I reapplied, आणि मग हा सगळा प्रोसेस झाला. So I ended up spending 10 years in the army almost. So that is how it was. So no, I mean, it's one of the most amazing organization and a great time I had, and I'm still linked with all the guys from my unit, and it is सगळं आहे. But yes, it is a choice that I made. So going in was a काय म्हणतात त्याला on the spot, unplanned decision. Yeah, but coming out was all planned. I planned for it. I mean, I could have hung on there, and then people said, "Yeah, boss, how can you leave?" And all that. So that it's all a kind of question of what you want to do in life. So I've been a drifter. So you've seen, from IIT I went to army. So army I've got into software. Now I'm doing software sales in Europe and America, where I'm not qualified in IT. So I've been a drifter, and I keep experimenting, and I keep challenging myself, and so that's my character. So I enjoy doing that. And so that's where that's how my story went. But anyway, today I'm going to focus only on the army part of it. Yeah. So I think it's nearing 6 o'clock. Should I continue?
Okay, yeah, I'll ask my
Or
question.
if there are questions, then we can go question answer way.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you can continue. मी नंतर विचारू शकतो.
हो. आतापर्यंत रेलेव्हंट असेल तर विचार, अदरवाइज वी कॅन.
So anybody who goes through NDA and IMA किंवा through OTA, they join army as a commissioned officer, right?
Correct.
Nobody joins as सिपाही किंवा असं वेगळं. You join as an officer.
Yeah, not through these channels.
Right.
हे जे 3 channels आहेत, everybody joins as an officer.
Right. So I think माझा अप्पाचा क्वेश्चन होता, त्याचं हे आन्सर आहे की even though you join as a commissioned officer. So all the sipais and all, they have not come through these academies. They are anyways
They are
like
not in that.
subordinates for you. Right.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah. आणि हे शिपाई जी वगैरे आहेत, हो, ते शिपाई वगैरे जे आहेत ते मी तुम्हाला जसं सांगितलं की आमचं सेंटर शिलाँगला आहे. शिलाँगला आमचं रिक्रुटमेंट. ऑल द शिपाईज गेट रिक्रुटेड इन शिलाँग. दे आर ऑल फ्रेशर्स फ्रॉम देअर. आणि ते शिपाईचं कसं असतं, शिपाई जसं मी तुम्हाला रँक स्ट्रक्चर सांगितलं, शिपाई बिकम द लास्ट नायक, then he becomes the naik, then he becomes the havaldar, then he becomes the havaldar major. Then there is another small bracket of rank structure which is called junior commissioned officers.
Right.
So a havaldar, after becoming havaldar major, becomes a naik subedar. So naik subedarचं काय असतं की they also are eligible to put stars. So naik subedar will have 1 star, but he will have one multicolor patti in the middle to designate that he is a JSU. That is a junior commissioned officer who has come up from the ranks. And then he gets promoted to full subedar, where he has 2 stars and a patti. And then he becomes a subedar major, where he has a major ka billa. Okay. So subedar major is the highest they can reach. And those guys, you must, have their hats off, because, in a battalion, you have 1 subedar major. So he's a king because he's come up from the ranks. So he's been a sepoy and he's come to that level. Well, officers have never been a sepoy, right? They got trained, but they have straight away come as second lieutenant. Right? So that balance is there, but hierarchy remains. So Subedar Major will salute a second lieutenant even on his day 1. He's not seen any army life and he's come into the unit. Subedar Major will salute him, in spite of his 20, 30 years of service. So that's how the structure is, and that's how it kind of works.
So if you go through India, you sign a bond, right? Is there a similar bond
Yes.
in OTA that you do for short service commission?
Yeah. So the contract is 5 years.
Right. Okay.
In
So
OTA. In OTA is 5 years. In India, it's permanent. So people who go from India IMA, they cannot come out until, I think, 15 years also is compassionate ground. So some people come out on compassionate ground. म्हणजे काय की आता आई आजारी and nobody to look after and I have to be there.
Right.
Or somebody breaks some leg or something. काहीतरी त्यांचं compassionate ground असलं.
Right.
Extreme compassionate ground. काही legal case झाली landची and they have to be there. Otherwise you cannot come out.
Right.
So then you have to serve your full term.
Right.
So the only reason people come out is superannuation. That he gets superseded. Somebody else, मेरा junior मेरे से आगे निकल गया. So I don't want to serve anymore. So those are some other people that come out. Otherwise, there is a minimum, I think, some 20 years you have to serve to get pension. Otherwise, you don't even get pension. Like short service commission, we don't get pension. We got gratuity. We were there on the reserve list for 10 years with the Indian Army. Yeah, somebody wants to raise a hand. No. Everybody's there. Marathi सगळ्यांना समजतं ना?
हो.
Okay. All right, so let me share some more interesting stuff. Yeah, so going back to Sikkim, my first posting, I told you about the leeches and the song and all that. Yeah, so this is another flavor. So further up north you go, the tree line finishes, and then you get all the yaks and the different kind of a terrain. So in Sikkim, I got a chance to go to a place called Gegong, which is in Tibetan Plateau. And तिथे Second World War मध्ये they had airdropped some jeeps to ply in that Tibetan Plateau. But they had lived their lives and they had become completely defunct. So board of officers was required to destroy those jeeps. So I had to take this task of spending 21 days to reach there, because 3 stages of acclimatization. And acclimatization मध्ये आम्ही 11,000, 14,000, 17,000, 3 stages we do acclimatization and we go. So if you had seen the map that I shared, Kanchenjunga डावीकडे दिसत होतं. So a lot of trekkers all go there. So it was like a trek for me for 21 days. So I, my batty and my याकवर आमचं सामान, आणि आम्ही ते घेऊन आम्ही पायी टप्प्याटप्प्याने जायचो. And then we did acclimatization. So when you do acclimatization, what you do is, suppose I am at 14,000. So I park at 14,000 for the night. In the morning I get up, I gain about 1,500 meters. And then I spend the whole day at that height. And in the night again I come back and I sleep at 14,000. असं मी 7 दिवस करतो. So then I'm acclimatized to go and live at 17,000. So then I go to 70,000. Then I do the same thing. So actually 3 stages of acclimatization one has to do. So I had to do that. Then I went to Begong Plateau. Then we dug a khadda. We put the engine in that, and we blew it up with explosives. And then we signed a paper and said the vehicles have been physically destroyed. Okay. And then I had done some liaison. So luckily, on the way back, I got a chopper ride. So we had some good relationship with these guys who used to come on recce's. Unfortunately, while going up, I could not. But while going down, there was this flight going, so I got a nice ride. So we enjoyed riding these choppers on and off in the beautiful mountains of Sikkim. All right, so that was Sikkim. Then I went to Lucknow, which is the city of Nawabs. Okay. 1 second, let me look at the watch. Yeah, so another 20-30 minutes. Ashish? Okay. So city of Nawabs, again, great place. Lucknow is a beautiful city. And so what happens, it's a peace posting. Sikkim मध्ये field posting होती, right? So now I go into a peace posting. So peace posting मध्ये काय होतं? We say you sweat more in peace so that you bleed less in war. So full peacetime is used for training. So we run 3 training cycles. We do what is called as battle inoculation. Then we have battle proficiency test. आपण जसं audit करतो तसं how ready is your unit for the battle ते होतं. Lots of sports and games. Because field area मध्ये sports and games ला एवढा scope नसतो. जास्तीत जास्त volleyball वगैरे खेळतो आम्ही. But otherwise in peace station you can play all sports. And of course there is family life. Because field area there is no family. So peace there is family. But yes, the entire focus is training and more training. So one of the thing is called battle inoculation. The battle inoculation मध्ये काय होतं की आम्ही actually we simulate a war. We say red land and blue land are 2 neighboring countries, and the relationships have been strained, and there is an offensive that needs to be, executed. But then we'll do all kinds of operations: offensive, defensive, patrolling, attacks. So we actually simulate a war, and there is live firing. So there is a safety measure taken, but you'll find firing happening all over, grenades blasting, injuries पण होतात त्याच्यात. But actually, we simulate a battle and see how well the unit can do in that. So that when the actual war happens, you are there, but there's no technology here in simulation. This is purely actual groundwork. Okay, so that's battle inoculation that happens. In addition to that, like I said, ki battle proficiency test असते. Battle proficiency मध्ये I think I pressed something.
What I was suggesting and बाकी ते सांगू शकतात की I think we can also do another session. म्हणजे you don't have to rush slides. लोकांनाही प्रश्न विचारायला वेळ मिळेल. You can also do another session. It doesn't have to be next month. It can be tomorrow or maybe next weekend जर लोकांना जमत असलं. And I think
okay, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'll take it to a logical end, and then we can stop there.
आणि मग मे बी थोडा आपण नेहमी करतो असं एक 10 मे बी वी कॅन स्टॉप ॲट 6:15 किंवा 6:20 अँड देन 5-10 मिनिटं परत क्वेश्चनला अँड देन डिस्कस आफ्टर दॅट वी कॅन डू दॅट ऑल्सो की 6:15 ला वी कॅन मे बी स्टॉप म्हणजे तुम्ही बघा थांबवता येते अँड देन 10 मिनिटं करू शकतो अँड देन वी कॅन हॅव अनदर.
Correct. Now the thing is, I lost the presentation somewhere. I don't know where it is gone.
Oh,
I still see it, Kaka.
Screen दिसतीये.
slide
Okay, can you see now?
Yeah. तुमचा कर्सर पण दिसतोय मला मूव्ह होताना.
Okay, ठीक आहे, गुड. सो नाव सो मी म्हणलं की बॅटल प्रोफिशियन्सी टेस्ट होते, तर त्याच्यात ऑफकोर्स द युनिट गेट्स टेस्टेड, बट इंडिव्हिज्युअली काय असतं, इच ऑफिसर, इच पर्सन, वी हॅव टू डू 4 टेस्ट एव्हरी इयर, say that you're fit for the war. One is called a 2-mile race. So that's done in your PT dress, and you do 2 miles in a defined period of time. And if you don't do that in time, then you fail. And then the second test you do is a 10-mile run. Again, in a defined. The 10-mile run happens in a full battle rig. You're wearing the whole battle rig with a rifle, with everything, with a big pack with 22 kgs and all that. Then the third thing you do is a fireman lift, which means somebody of your same weight in the full battle rig on your shoulder with the weapon, with everything. You carry him for 300 meters in a period of time. So these 3 are important. The 4th is called 9 feet ditch. 9 feet ditch म्हणजे एक 9 फुटाचा ditch असतो, त्याच्यात आग वगैरे लावलेली असते. You come running in your battle gear and you jump across to the other side, across the fire. So that is one. And there is one more which is called the monkey rope. Monkey rope मध्ये अशी एक rope चढायची and then behind you have another rope which is horizontal. You go onto that, you go to the center, then you lift your legs and you put them like that. Okay, and then you take them down and you do that 3 times. Okay, and then you go to the other side and climb down. Because basically you got to have good abs muscles to do that. So हे 5 steps तुम्हाला करावे लागतात. If you don't do that, then you kind of fail those things, and you might impact your reports and stuff like that. So everybody has to do that, and that's the readiness of the unit. So all that happens in the peacetime. Okay, so while this unit is undergoing these 3 training cycles and 2 cycles you have to attend and all that, there is something called individual training. So while I'm in the unit, I keep getting nominated for different programs in different parts of the country, in different schools, to get trained. Okay, so like I did commando tactics and weapons in infantry school Belgaum. Then I did battalion support weapons in Mao in infantry school. Then I did military intelligence. पुण्यात एक intelligence school आहे वानोडीला. So I did a intelligence school there. तिथे तुम्हाला हे शिकवतात Mutt and Jeff method of interrogation, air photo interpretation. What do you do when you're taken as a prisoner of war? How do you interpret enemy information and put it together to make sensible. So you can take decisions based on that. हे सगळं शिकवतात. The equipment management. A whole lot of equipment in the army. Then how do you manage that? Then I did mountain warfare, which I'll talk about. Then there is Army Air coordination. How does Army use the Air Force? How does Air Force coordinate with the Army to do a simultaneous operation? Then we did explosives and mines. So engineering बरोबर आम्ही ते केलं. Then infantry tank. Sometimes you have to work together. I'll give you an example of that also. Infantry tank operation. Okay. Yeah. So this is how the commandos look. You don't know who the hell is who. They all look the same. They all look completely worn out. So त्यांनी तो प्रहार पिक्चर एक आला होता नाना पाटेकरचा. खूप छान केला होता. आणि त्याच्यात त्यांनी सगळं दाखवलं होतं. The commando jump and the 40-mile run and all those things. So that's a very interesting thing, and so that's what all infantry people have to do. And then we do this battalion supports I talked about. In addition to the platoon weapons, battalion मध्ये काही specialist platoon असतात. आणि तिकडे आमच्याकडे this is a miniature artillery. So while you have huge artillery guns in a infantry battalion, you have these high trajectory weapons. It's called an 81 millimeter mortar, and it is capable of throwing bombs across the hill feature. 3,000 मीटर पर्यंत ह्याची इफेक्टिव्हनेस असू शकते. हे शिकतो आम्ही. Then we have a jeep mounted recoilless gun that can it's an anti-tank weapon. So it fires on the tanks and मागे back blast असतो मोठा. ही सगळी स्पेशलिस्ट ट्रेनिंग होते. Then heavy, medium and heavy machine guns we learn in the battalion support weapons. And then I told you we have this mountain warfare in the mountains. Yeah. So essentially इंडियामध्ये कसं आहे की आपल्याकडे टेरेन आहे ना, सगळ्या प्रकारचं टेरेन आहे आपल्याकडे. माउंटन्स आहेत, जंगल्स आहेत, डेझर्ट्स आहेत, plains आहेत. So we have mountain warfare, jungle warfare, desert warfare, all kinds of warfare. And we also have one peculiar warfare, which when we were in Lucknow, we were part of a strike corps, and our operational area was Pakistan. And in Pakistan side, we had to actually work with tanks and engineers. The way it happened is there is a warfare called the DCB, which is ditch come band. Because of tanks and because of planes, what India-Pakistan border has is it has this 100 feet ditch. Okay, 100 feet by 100 feet ditch. आणि मग तो डिच संपला की 100 feet by 100 feet बंद, म्हणजे असा एक रेस्ट पोर्शन, आणि मग परत डिच, आणि मग परत बंद, असं माइल्स टुगेदर these obstacles have been created. So there is actually a drill which is called the DCB warfare. And the DCB warfare मध्ये obviously right in the front is infantry. So we decide the spot in which we want to go and make a bridgehead. So we choose that point. If there is water in that, then we have to use some kind of different technique. There's no water, then so infantry goes across the Ditchkamban obstacle or a series of them and secures an area and protects it. Then the engineers come and then they lay the bridge on the ditches. And then the bridges are laid, then the tanks will come and then they will go use the bridges and then they will fan out. And then the infantry moves ahead, So basically in the plains, the major tank firepower is tanks. And therefore, it calls for a lot of this coordination. So hey, DCB आम्ही तिथे लखनौमध्ये असताना केलं. And of course I told you mountain warfare and all that. Yeah. So what else do I have? Yeah. So this high altitude warfare जो course आहे तो मी इथे केला होता. It's called High Altitude Warfare School. HAWS. It's called HAWS. So this is what it looks like summer and this is what it looks like in the winter. It is in Gulmarg. गुलमर्ग सोनमर्ग मध्ये ही आहे आणि तिथे okay, so I think I will stop here and I will talk about HAWS in the next time when we meet. Yeah. So इथे थांबू आपण बिकॉज याच्यात परत 10 मिनिटं लागू 5-10 मिनिटं लागू शकतील. मेक सेन्स आशिष? ओके.
या चालणार. आय थिंक वी कॅन लोकांना काय प्रश्न बोलायचं असेल तर वी कॅन डू दॅट.
वी कॅन डू क्वेश्चन आन्सर.
या
Absolutely.
कमाल खूपच भारी.
Interesting आहे.
फारच भारी.
I was not expecting एवढे प्रश्न मला नव्हते की एवढे प्रश्न येतील. You guys are really curious.
अजून पण आहेत खूप प्रश्न, पण किती असं तुम्हाला विचारायचं असं होतंय.
नाही प्लीज.
तुम्हाला जेव्हा आता तुम्ही प्रहार, so in general when you see the army being depicted in movies, for example आता आमच्या जनरेशन मध्ये आता लक्ष पिक्चर होता 11वी-12वी मध्ये आलेला, बॉर्डर होता. सो व्हॉट डू यू लाईक, हाऊ डू यू फील अबाउट दॅट? हाऊ अॅक्युरेट इज द डिपिक्शन, और डू यू हॅव लाईक प्रहार तुम्ही मेन्शन केलं, अजून कुठले तुम्हाला मूवीज वाटले का की दे वर अॅक्युरेट, और वर दर पर्टिक्युलर मूवीज दॅट वर सो फार फ्रॉम रियालिटी, और लाईक जस्ट बिकॉज आम्हाला तो रेफरन्स आहे मनात, कारण आम्ही तशी आर्मी बघितली आहे ऑन स्क्रीन.
Fair enough. So I think, at the end of the day, it's an entertainment industry. They have to do a little bit of masala around it.
Yeah.
So though I think it is not that bad as it used to be before. So Laksh, I think, was a good example. It was done, a well-made movie. त्याच्यानंतर ती आपली ती त्या स्ट्राईक्स वर जी आता काढली होती ना एक मूवी, दॅट वॉज ऑल्सो प्रिटी गुड. उरी या ते आपले जे सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स केले होते ना, that was also fairly good. Now I believe there is a movie coming on Galwan attack, 1962 history of war असं काहीतरी घेते. इज इट अ सिरीज और मूवी? आय डोंट नो, पण हॉटस्टार मध्ये त्याची फर्स्ट लुक रिलीज झाली आहे. So whatever little I saw, that also looked kind of reasonable. So I think the technology is improved and people have understood and they have access to actually go to field and see what happens. आणि ते बऱ्यापैकी रिअलिस्टिक घेतात. आम्ही आधीचे जे पिक्चर्स होते ते फार म्हणजे असे लांब केस आणि टोपी वाकडी घातलेली आणि म्हणजे असं वैताग यायचं की अरे काय हे दाखवता तुम्ही. That was bad. Then the other movie जिथे I think in that Air Force lady was not treated, so we were very upset with that. So ladies are never treated like that. एक पिक्चर आला होता कुठला तरी, lady is a pilot. So the lady is a pilot and she goes into that कारगिल वॉरच्या वेळेसच आहे तो. That was terrible. I mean that never happens. So काही गोष्टी ते इतक्या बेकार दाखवतात. So those are bad. But तो सर्जिकल स्ट्राईक वाला was fairly realistic. The only funny part, they एक ड्रोन दाखवला होता मध्येच, तो असं उडत जातो खिडकीत आणि ते काहीतरी. That is ridiculous. I mean that we would not. Maybe there is some technology used, but the way it was shown was like fiction. But बाकीचं त्यांनी छान दाखवलं होतं. Laksh also is good, and Prahar again was very well because they showed the whole commando training. And actually they have infantry school बेलगाव मध्ये जाऊन त्यांनी अख्खी शूटिंग केली. That was good.
एक छोटासा फॉलोअप प्रश्न आहे, तो फक्त पटकन विचारून टाकतो. सो अगेन मी पुन्हा लक्षात रेफरन्स वापरणार आहे की त्याच्यामध्ये एक सीन आहे ज्याच्यात देर आर लाईक हॅव्हिंग सम फूड आणि त्याच्यात देर इज डिस्कशन अबाउट वॉर, लाईक की आणि त्यातला एक जो आर्मी पर्सन असतो जवान, तो ही इज व्हेरी स्ट्रॉंग ऑन हाऊ जर्नलिस्ट ट्रीट वॉर वर्सेस हाऊ the actual on-field folks see the war, right? So आणि त्याला थोडासा पॉलिटिकल पण असा वाटला होता, असा अँगल आहे. तर त्यात मला दोन प्रश्न आहेत. एक की पॉलिटिक्स ऍक्च्युअली डिस्कस होतं का ऑन फील्ड आर्मीमध्ये, आणि सेकंडली वॉर बद्दल कशी मतं जनरली असतात ऍक्च्युअल ऑन फील्ड लोकांमध्ये.
एक तर politics and religion are not discussed at all. Okay. Politics, religion, and women. These three things we never discuss. Okay. All these things create, conflicts. I find they have a big fight to fight. So let's leave these aside. Okay, so these things we completely not discuss. The second part of your question was that what people think about war. Yeah. So basically, army guys they are not superhuman. They are like normal guys, So nobody wants war. The only thing is you're trained and you're given a weapon and you've got ammunition and you're there on the border and you see the enemy. Yes, you want to fire. So everybody wants to do that because that's purely out of your so many years of training that you go through, right? But in the heart of the heart, everybody's scared. All are human beings. Everybody's scared. Everybody doesn't want war. They want to go back home to their family. All that. But the only reason that soldiers fight, is purely because of the bonding and the peer group. Because you live together, you stay together, you eat together, you do everything together, and you building that spirit all along. So आम्ही जसं म्हणतो नाम, निशान और नमक. The three reasons that we will fight. For the honor and the pride of the flag that you're carrying. So there's a rhino emblem that I have, and the fact that the Assam regiment won battle honor in the 71 war. When the whole army was focused on the east, there was a Assam regiment which is standing in the west, fending off 5 attacks. And as a result of which, we had more than 50% casualties. We lost 5 officers, we lost so many jawans. So we have that history. And that is the bravery and the courage that the regiment has displayed. So we carry that history forward. So that is a kind of branding that we have for ourselves. We want to live with that. So that is how armies, soldiers fight. And the other is leadership. So whoever is the leader of that contingent, how well he leads from the front. Yeah. So we don't discuss war. And दुसरं कसं होतं की war मध्ये it's a big game. So at a unit you never know. What action is going to happen. You are ready. You are trained. You have all the equipment. You are just waiting for the orders. Because the big picture, is different. So if you are looking from the army headquarters at the Indo-Pakistan border, okay, there are some approaches, even if they are easy, you don't want to take. But the unit which is based there, they will think, "Arey yaar, mere liye kitna aasan hai, I can just hop across and I can attack them from this line." Sorry, you cannot do that. Okay, because somebody sitting on the top is now seeing the picture in a different way, and that has multiple implications: political implications, economic implications. So therefore, it is top down. Okay, so there's no point saying this is what we can. So you just have to be ready for the operation that you are assigned. Okay, just go for it, and then try and see how best you can execute that operation. तर असं होतं. बाकी आमचं म्हणजे in the mess or something you might talk about wars and all that, but then politics of course we don't.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Bari.
Good. A lot of curiosity about the army.
Yeah. काका मी तुमचा तो ऍडव्हेंचर इन लडाखचा व्हिडिओ बघितला गौरीने पाठवलेला. त्यांनी म्हणजे बघितला नसेल तर फारच अमेझिंग आहे आणि तुमचं नरेशन खूप कमाल आहे त्यात. म्हणजे स्टोरी इन इट सेल्फ इज व्हेरी थ्रिलिंग आणि तुम्ही सांगितलंय छान. मी परत आपल्या ग्रुपवर टाकतो ते. आय थिंक गौरीने पाठवला होता.
Some of you have seen that, so I appreciate that. Good, you saw that, because I thought it was relevant. Because if you're curious about knowing how the army works, what kind of काय ऍक्टिव्हिटीज होतात, तर त्याच्यातली एक ऍक्टिव्हिटी तिथे आम्ही डिस्कस की एक पेट्रोलिंगची आहे. इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग एपिसोड. सो गुड, आशिष, पुट दॅट, अँड इफ यू हॅव क्वेश्चन ऑन दॅट, मोस्ट वेलकम. 20 मिनिटं तुम्हाला काढावे लागतील त्याच्यासाठी. आजकाल आपलं स्पॅन ऑफ अटेन्शन इज व्हेरी लो. म्हणतो जाऊ दे, नाही बघायचं.
Yeah, but if you watch the first 2 minutes, you will hang on to it.
You will hang on to that because action starts later. Yeah. Correct. ते आहे.
माझा एक क्वेश्चन आहे. तुम्ही ते म्हटला की देर आर लॉट ऑफ वेकंट पोस्ट, लाईक कमी लोक जॉईन करतायत, म्हणजे ओटी, ऑफिसर्स ट्रेनिंग अकॅडमी किंवा सो इज दिस प्रॉब्लेम लाईक in other countries as well, का it's just आयडिया आहे का तुम्हाला की असं बाकीच्या कंट्रीज मध्ये पण होतंय का इट्स जस्ट हॅपनिंग इन इंडिया, किंवा काही कंट्रीज मध्ये मी ऐकलंय जसं इस्रायल मध्ये वगैरे की इट्स लाईक फोर्स्ड, यू हॅव टू गो इन टू द आर्मी, लाईक यू हॅव टू सर्व इन द आर्मी फॉर 3 years or something.
Correct. Yeah. So basically, it's a problem, global problem. Everybody has the problem, which is why a country like Israel made it compulsory. You don't have a choice. 2 वर्ष तुम्ही करा. Whether you like it or not, you finish your college and you come. Okay. A similar thing also exists in the US, which is why a lot of people avoid draft. काहीतरी सिकनेस काढतात किंवा काहीतरी काढतात आणि ते एस्केप होतात, So I think US is not kind of implemented the way Israel has done. Yeah, but there are a lot of people who want to escape. And the only reason for that is because there are better opportunities available outside. What the Indian government has done is they are now starting a new short service commission, which is 3 years. So they are saying that, hey, okay, you don't give your full life, but you come for 3 years. We'll train you, we'll make you a officer and a gentleman, and you will be absolutely on a different plane. And then you can do that. So that's a very attractive proposition. And the only reason is this, that make it more attractive. And आता कसं आहे, today we are living in a time when we don't even know what's going to happen next year. We don't even know what jobs are going to open up. So one of the biggest quality required is in terms of adapting, quickly relearning, and coming up with innovative ways to kind of move ahead. So all those things the army teaches you. The army makes you flexible. It gives you quick decision making. It helps you to manage with resources. ते हे सगळं होतं. So it's like you see a James Bond movie. James Bond सब कुछ करता है, बराबर? So why not become a James Bond in 3 years and then come and live in the civilian world? You have answers. Whatever you want to do in life, come spend 2 to 3 years in the army and then go. Because आता problem आहे. आता batches full होत नाहीयेत, because people are not. And the thing is, army doesn't want to lower the grade by taking substandard people. Their standard पण कमी नाही करायचं. So therefore, there is always a shortage. So when I say that 14 is the average.
तुमचा हँग झाला व्हिडिओ.
हो.
Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
Now it's good.
So battalion is very lucky if they have 12 to 14 officers. Normally 20 authorized strength असते, पण ती कधीच नसते.
So the problem is finding quality candidates, right? Currently competition for like NDA, OTA, IMA is extremely high, right? But they don't find quality candidates.
Correct. कसं आहे आपल्याकडे
quality असं.
Quality and quantity also. What has happened की आपले जे northern states आहेत, those states have seen wars. Okay, Punjab आहे किंवा Haryana आहे, Delhi, UP, all those states have seen some level of action. So a lot of people there want to go, and there is what is called as whole hierarchy of the family. आजोबा पण होते, काका पण आहे, वडील पण होते. So everybody goes into the army. तसं आपल्याकडे बघितलं तर फार कमी आहे. आता महाराष्ट्रामध्ये बेसिकली बिकॉज ऑफ छत्रपती शिवाजी महाराज culture and the fact that there is a Sainik school in Satara and there is a Sainik school in Bijapur. So the Sainik schools kind of build that whole spirit, and a whole lot of Maharashtrians go. But South Indians very few. Gujarat nobody goes. West Bengal also few. So some states there are no takers. Other states there are a lot of people go and quality. But quantity is getting affected because of more choices available outside. तर ज्यांना आर्मी बद्दल माहिती आहे, ज्यांना आर्मीची लाईफस्टाईल माहिती आहे, पीपल हू रिअली वॉन्ट टू लीड अ लाईफस्टाईल लाईक दॅट, दे ऑफ कोर्स want to go and join the army. There are people
different countries as well, like US मध्ये सुद्धा आहे. ओके.
So
मी ऍक्च्युली एक शॉर्ट फिल्म बघितली होती, त्यात सिक्कीम का तिकडेच बाबा हरभजन सिंग म्हणून कोणीतरी दे हॅड मेन्शन्ड. त्याचं मंदिर पण केलंय आय थिंक तिथे. सो तिकडे तुम्ही काय असं त्याच्याबद्दल ऐकलं का?
हो, मी ऐकलं, बट I am not, I mean, I don't know the whole story about it. But there are these few Babas. There is one in Sikkim, there is one in Zojila Pass.
Okay.
So army doesn't believe in religion, but it believes in Babas. Some of these Babas really, the army guys, actually stop and visit that, and they believe in that because it's life and death.
Yeah.
So these Babas have apparently a history of averting disasters.
Yes.
So people want to kind of do that. Ladakh's जे Zojila Pass, which is one of the most dangerous areas. A lot of accidents and all happen. So there is one Baba who is respected. Similarly, Sikkimचा पण मी ऐकलं, but I don't know the details. But there are Babas who have.
आम्ही गेलो होतो तेव्हा त्या गाईडनी सांगितलं की ते मंदिर आहे कारण तो बाबा अपॅरेंटली तो स्वप्नात येऊन त्यांनी असं केलंय की इथे बॉडीज आहेत काही लोकांच्या. आणि
ऍक्च्युली ही वॉज अन आर्मी मॅन आणि he was found dead in some operation, and then he came in the dream of some other officers and he told them the dead bodies of other people. Where are they? Yeah.
That is, he's got a nice story to sell, and yeah. I think there are these some babas who are there.
Okay.
And
भारी
yeah.
खूप. मी 2005 मध्ये एसएसबी इंटरव्ह्यू दिला होता.
अरे वा, व्हेरी गुड.
मध्ये या एनडीए साठी.
बरं.
So, तुमच्या आजच्या खूप गोष्टी काय
मस्त एक्सपिरियन्स असेल ना.
अमेझिंग. या मी एक्सपिरियन्स साठीच गेलो होतो. आय डिड नॉट जॉईन लेटर नंतर, पण या इट वॉज ग्रेट. मला तुम्ही यात सांगितल्यावर ते सगळं खूप आठवलं. इट वॉज अमेझिंग. खूपच भारी एक्सपिरियन्स होता. आणि माझ्यासाठी होतं की काही घरनं काहीच आयडिया नाही वगैरे, आणि आय हॅड नो आयडिया काय एसएसबी इंटरव्ह्यू वगैरे, पण आपले कोणतरी मित्र आलेत म्हणून आम्ही परीक्षा दिली होती रिटर्न. मग ती सिलेक्ट झालं, मग ते एसएसबी आला, आणि इट इज ऑल एक्सपेन्स पेड, राईट. लाईक या जायचं. 12वीत होतो मी, फर्स्ट इयर इंजिनिअरिंगला होतो, आणि जाऊन आलो, आणि आय हॅड नो आयडिया, पण आय गॉट म्हणजे झालो मी सगळ्या ह्याच्यातनं सिलेक्ट शेवटपर्यंत. आणि ऍक्च्युली त्यामुळेच मला तो 21 एअरफोर्स ईमेल ऍड्रेस आहे तो तेव्हाच आहे. मध्ये ऑल इंडिया रँक 21 होता, सो मी झालो होतो सिलेक्ट तेव्हा इंडियासाठी फ्लाइंग पायलट असं. पण आय डिड नॉट जॉईन, आय थिंक फॉर द सेम रिझन. एक तर घरनं एवढा सपोर्ट नव्हता, आणि मला तिथे AFSB एमफोर्स सिलेक्शन बोर्डला नंतर हे लक्षात आलं की दिस इज समथिंग दॅट यू नीड टू बी एक्स्ट्रीमली पॅशनेट अबाउट. दिस इज नॉट समथिंग की जे जस्ट होऊन जाईल, की BSc इंजिनिअरिंग वगैरे ठीक आहे, त्या गोष्टी होऊन जातात जनरल. दिस इज यू हॅव टू बी एक्स्ट्रीमली पॅशनेट. कारण मी तिथे इंडियाच्या स्टोरीज वगैरे लोकांच्या ऐकलं ना, प्लस डिसिप्लिन वगैरे. आय थिंक ते मला खूप हे झालं की दॅट डिसिप्लिन वॉज टू मच, ॲटलिस्ट तेव्हा.
So we are all made differently, and what I agree, Ashish, is that आपण जे youngsters आहेत ना, I think we should tell them that if they get an opportunity, they should go for the SSB. It's a good experience. It's a fantastic and enjoyable experience आहे, आणि वेगळ्या गोष्टी आपण करतो, आणि we really have a good time there. It's a completely, काय म्हणतात त्याला, unusual experience. Not that you would do in any other situation. मस्त आहे ते, करायला पाहिजे. मी लोकांना 2 वर्ष, एक ते SSB करा आणि दुसरं POP बघा एकदा तरी.
POP
पासिंग आउट परेड.
पासिंग आउट परेड. या मी जॉईन केलं नाही, पण माझ्या बॅचला जी लोक होती, दोज हू जॉईन, त्यांच्यामुळे मला इंडियात खूपदा जाता येत होतं. त्यामुळे मी 3 पासिंग आउट परेड बघितल्या. या दे आर अमेझिंग. ऍक्च्युली डिसेंबर मध्ये असते रे, डिसेंबर आणि जून मध्ये. सो काहीतरी पासेस घेऊन आपण पुढच्या इंडिया ट्रिपला वगैरे लोक जाऊ शकतात. खूप भारी एक्सपिरियन्स.
We can arrange the passes. आता कोविडमुळे काय माहिती नाही मला, ते are they going to do it for open public, but under normal circumstances we can arrange a pass. You can go in a team, not a problem.
Right.
आय थिंक डूड रुक्सला काहीतरी क्वेश्चन होता असं वाटलं मला.
नाही.
Okay.
Dude, Rooks are busy. Their parents, Rook's parents are here, no?
Yes. Okay. This is my dad.
Hi.
Just
Nice experience.
Hello. How are you?
He was here through your talk.
Hello.
Amazing. Really inspiring. Wonderful.
Welcome. I'm glad that you could also sit through. Yeah. How's Dude? I think he's got some.
Some minor, just feverishness, something like that. They also given the test. That the results are yet to be out.
Okay. I think test दिली already, ना?
घेतलेलं आहे, टेस्ट घेतलेली.
आणि 24 hours मध्ये मिळते आता आजकाल. Earlier they were taking 2-3 days.
अजून नाही आलाय ऍक्च्युली त्याचा.
नाही का?
नाही.
आपल्याकडे तो 6 तासामध्ये मिळते आजकाल इंडियात.
आपल्याकडे इंडियामध्ये तर कमाल आहे एकदम. म्हणजे आम्ही रात्री टेस्ट दिली आणि सकाळी 6 वाजता रिपोर्ट हातात.
आमच्या टेस्टला वगैरे पण एक साधारण ऍक्च्युअली 3 दिवस लागले होते दोन्ही वेळेला. सो डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. आणि इट वॉज निगेटिव्ह. सो जस्ट जास्त वेळ लागतोय म्हणजे काही इट डझंट मीन एनिथिंग. डोंट वरी अबाउट इट.
फुल हाऊस क्वारंटाईन मध्ये.